Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by Microdose. Get out of pain, get out of anxiety, and start treating yourself a little bit better. Try Microdose. Microdose is a CBD THC gummy that will get you out of pain, get you out of anxiety, and get you into feeling good again. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, code DARKNESS. Welcome in, everybody, to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm Tim Dennis. Got a really good show for you today. Read a very interesting book over the weekend, and I wanted to share it with everybody. It's called The Tuskegee Strangler, the nicest serial killer they ever met. And yes, I'm serious when I say the nicest serial killer they ever met. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes when you meet a really nice guy, he'll help you out on the street. Maybe he'll help you at home. Maybe he'll help you when you're out there at work. Maybe he's not the nicest guy that you think you've ever met. Maybe he's got a ulterior motive. We'll talk about that here with our guest, Linda Lou Long. Let's tell you a little bit about Linda Lou before we get into the program. Linda Lou Long has worked for over 30 years in a variety of law enforcement and state government positions. Her experience includes working as a process officer, riding on equine-mounted patrol, and acting as a search and rescue canine handler. Linda Lou has also worked with juveniles in a youth camp called Camp Sherwood for the Illinois State Police. More recently, Linda Lou is acting as the trainer with the Illinois Police Association Central Division for the city, county, state, and federal officers seeking to continue remaining on point with the education concerning the newest crime-fighting issues, ideas, and techniques. Linda Lou's education is in rehabilitation and legal studies with an emphasis in criminal justice administration and rehabilitation administration at a master's level. Let's welcome into True Crime Tuesday, Linda Lou Long. Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Doing wonderfully, and even better now that I'm talking to you. I got to tell you, first of all, as much as you can enjoy a book about a serial killer who's a nice guy, I really did enjoy this book. I first of all want to throw that your way.
Great. That's what I want. I want a story that you want to read, that you'll enjoy reading, and you want to read it again.
Absolutely. I do want to read it again because there are some things I feel like, and we'll go over this as we go down this rabbit hole here. There are some things I feel like maybe I missed about his character. And again, we'll dive into that here in just a bit. The man in question that we're talking about today is Jerry Marcus. And Jerry Marcus has and let's start out with his home life. We'll start out with his upbringing. A very tumultuous upbringing. Now, we always use the term here, Linda Lou, nature versus nurture, as to what creates a criminal or even a serial killer or the perfect brew of, I don't want to say people are evil, but the perfect brew of evil acts. Okay. Jerry Marcus obviously throughout this book struggles with whether he's doing right or wrong, or whether the acts he's doing, or whether he should or shouldn't, or whether it was even his fault. He seems to assign blame automatically to his victims, which and we'll talk a little bit about the psychological profile a little bit further down the line too. Let's talk a little bit about Jerry's upbringing, shall we? Tell us a little bit about Jerry Marcus and where he grew up and how he grew up.
Well, he grew up in Tuskegee, Alabama. It's a small town. Everybody most knows everybody else. It's a dead-end street. His family experienced the usual traumas that families will experience. His dad drank a little bit. And so there was some suspected abuse. Marcus related to me several different abusive situations he was involved in, involving his mother and his brother and himself. But it was It was he tried to detach himself, I'll say that.
Okay.
There was a little barn out behind the house, and he used to out behind his aunt's house, and the aunt was across the street living, and he would stay between the two houses to avoid getting into arguments with his father, because he got into it with his dad a lot. So he would stay over at his aunt's house, and he had a shed out back that he would collect things. And he started early on abusing animals. And one of the issues that they'll discuss in record is that he was witnessed setting on a cat's tail on fire just so he could watch it chase it till it chased itself to death. And he would take apart insects and small animals. And he's at one time he told me about taking them apart and playing autopsy and playing doctor. And he was always attracted somehow. That attracted him to the medical field, I think, and the job that he got into, because he just liked to be around, I don't know, dissection and surgeries and that sort of thing. That attracted him. And he was attracted to blood. He loved the red of blood. And he talked about that several times.
Interesting.
He may have grown up in that sort of tumultuous situation, but he was very smart in high school. He was an athlete. He was football, baseball, basketball, everything. He wrote on the yearbook. He sang. He did all kinds of things besides being reasonably good looking. And so naturally, nobody's ever suspected him because he was the nicest guy. He was always the one that was there to help everybody else. He would tutor other students. He was just there to help everybody out and make it good for everyone.
And we're going to bring up maybe the motivation behind why he was so nice a little bit later in the program as well. Now, what interested me, Linda Lou, as we start to delve into his upbringing and the abuses and the things that he suffered by the hands of his father. You mentioned that his father did inflict some abuses, not only on him, but his mother. It seems to me that his father had a bit of an alcohol problem. Is that correct?
Yes. Was suspected to have had a drinking problem. That's in record. That he had an alcoholic problem, and that he had been long-term, the police called out and stuff long-term, and he regularly abused the mother. And when I met her, she was a very cowed individual. Even now, she's very calm and very quiet and subdued and everything. But, he would pick on her and then pick on the boys and stuff. But a lot of it was he was just drunk a lot. And in that sort of lifestyle, I guess that's what happened. It was just dealt with in the family that way, that's the way it was, and just stay out of his way.
When we bring up Jerry's mother, of course, was the focus of the abuse in the family. Although, keep in mind,
record, yes,
Jerry had brothers and sisters. He had how many brothers and sisters?
I believe he had 2 brothers and 1 sister. But I never went out of my way to discuss the family in the book for the reason of their own privacy,
right? Even
at this late date, because the story is not about them.
Right.
It's about the victims and about Jerry. So I've always tried to stay away from, discussing the family members or anything like that. And I have left them completely out of it, basically, other than going down and meeting the mother and the aunt while they were still alive, because they're both deceased now. And the father died before.
Right.
He had involved in a car accident, and he had died before that time. But him and Jerry, he was, when Jerry went to prison, he was still alive.
Okay. So
he knew Jerry then, but he died during all that, when all that was going on. He had the car accident and he passed away. So
with all of the abuse heaped upon Jerry's mother, Jerry's father never really made, and I believe it. Believe me, folks, I am not being an apologist for an abuser here.
Sure.
But there were only a handful of times he came close to taking her life.
Right. And I think that is what got Jerry into it, was that he watched someone else his father, take advantage to his mother and push her and push her and push her to the very edge and then pull back.
Right. So,
but I think the problem with Jerry was that when he pushed to the very edge, he was unable to pull back and he couldn't stop from killing.
And interestingly enough, Jerry used the same method his father used.
Yes, he was very, his belt, he liked to use his father's belt. He wore his father's belt, the same belt that his father used to abuse him and his mother. He used to whip them with the belt.
Which, for the normal person sitting here reading this, Linda Lou,
it's kind of ironic, isn't it? Like, duh.
Ironic, but it turns your stomach.
Yeah, but he used it. He didn't use it for everyone, but he used it for all the way up to the very end, and then he just went to manual strangulation, with his hands.
Right.
But they were always close and intimate. I mean, strangulation is an intimate method of killing.
It is.
Because you're close. You're violating the person's. Well, yeah, you're violating the person's personal space. And so he after the belt, he just used his hands.
But that
was usually enough.
To put a belt between, almost, I think in the mind of a killer, I think to put a belt between almost says, I can't quite control the regulation of pressure. So it's not really on me. I could have controlled it if it would have been in my own hands.
Right. Yes, I agree with that.
To put a belt between says, you know what? It wasn't really me. It was the belt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, he always diverted the guilt. He diverted any responsibility to someone or another, one way or another. And he got quite accomplished at it.
So I think going back to Jerry's father now, I think when Jerry's father was drunk and dealing with his wife, I think to him, using the belt was a method of restraint, because had he used his hands, he knew that he would go too far.
He probably couldn't have stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
So to use the belt.
And it's so much, I mean, it's easy to fracture that highway. You put the pressure on the right bone with two thumbs and it's gone.
Right.
So it's easy. I think maybe it's even easier that the belt would put a distance, sort of, a mental distance between the action and the causal factor.
Right. There's an incident when Jerry's young, and I'm wondering if you'll tell our audience about it, where Jerry's mother decides she can't take anymore and decides to leave the family. Would you tell our audience a little bit about that and how that gets resolved?
Well, from what I gather, from when I interviewed them, from what they told me, she said that she had gotten offered a job, that someone else had known, that everybody knew, because there's police and everything in small neighborhoods. Everyone knew the conflict she had most of the time. And she got offered a job out of state taking care of someone else's kids. And so she went ahead and took the job and left. Maybe she thought that might make things better for her. Maybe she thought she could earn some money and come back and give him some money and maybe it'd be different. But it ended up being all the same, even when she came back. And while she was gone, he was so angry that was when Jerry actually completely moved in with the aunt to live over at the aunt's house. But like I said, they're right across the street from each other, the same neighborhood. But that was when he finally decided he better just completely get away from it, and he moved across the street to his aunt's house. And that's when he started living with her. And
even when Jerry treasured his aunt, and he did treasure his aunt quite a bit, there was even a little bit of a flare-up of attitude with her, and it had to do with the way he kept his room, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he was very, I'm not sure how to define it, but he had dark curtains. He had his windows covered all the time. He didn't want any light other than one single artificial light on. He didn't want her in there messing with any of his stuff or touching any of his stuff. And when she would go in there, like to retrieve dishes or whatever, he just reacted very violently because he felt they were violating his privacy. That was the only privacy he had. So he was just very funny about that. And then he just really scared her once. When he aggressed against her, and he showed her the side that other people had seen before, and she had no idea, and it really frightened her. And she didn't ask him any more about the room. That was it for the room.
Yet she still gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, sure, he was wonderful. I mean, he was still the kind of guy that would, like you said, carry your groceries to your car, help you pick up something you dropped on the ground, help you open the door for you. Down here in the South, that's common. But still, he was very, very polite, very nice. And no one would ever suspect, and no one ever did. No one ever did. I mean, after the incidents occurred with the two girls at Tuskegee, it went another 7 or so years, and no one ever knew because he left. He moved away, and no one ever knew.
And we'll talk about that too in a bit. Well, with his mother though, his mother was summoned by her husband, and she initially wasn't going to go back. She didn't want to go back.
I'm surprised. I wouldn't have. I mean, but she felt she owed her family. She had her children to think about too.
Well, and he made a threat, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What was that threat?
Well, he threatened her with her life, but she'd been threatened before. It wasn't the first time. It was just the first time that he had done it, and she wasn't with him. You understand what I mean?
Right.
She was a distance away when he made the threat.
Didn't he threaten the lives of
maybe it didn't seem as serious, since she wasn't in the same room and standing right beside him.
Didn't he threaten the lives of the children too?
Oh, yeah. He threatened to take care of the boys, too, to get rid of them, kill them, too. But that's one of the reasons why she came back, because she felt the children's lives were in danger. I mean, she wasn't sure. And she, her sister, she could have counted on her to do the best she could, but they couldn't have stopped him. If he'd have gone on some rampage and just killed them all, they couldn't have stopped him. Then the story never would have come out because they would have all been dead.
Right. So Jerry is going kind of through his own thing. He's seeing his dad do what he does as far as abuse goes, and he sees that he has his wife on a string, that he can control his wife however he wishes.
Right.
At this point, I think you've pretty well established that Jerry has this, although he's very nice, he also has this very narcissistic, power-hungry feel to him as well, and he's very much developed his dad's characteristics.
Yes.
And
he did whether he wanted to or not.
Right.
I don't think it was intentional, because he never expressed to me that he was really impressed with his dad or anything his dad ever taught him or anything like that, except saving money. And his dad always told him about the money issue, never to steal and always to save his money. Well, that was a good thing there, but, one good thing and a few bad things.
Well, and he got caught trying to steal from his father at one time, didn't he?
And see, that's what that all came from. And he told him, that you don't steal, and ever, especially from me. So they had a big deal about that.
There was a pretty harsh punishment that happened when he tried to steal from his father. Can you tell our audience what exactly happened to him when he tried to steal from his father?
Well, he was pretty heavy with the discipline, and he just really took advantage, I think, of Marcus's fact that he was young and that he was impressionable, and he frightened him. He scared them both, him and his brother, and he was afraid that either or both of them were going to be killed. And then at the same time, he was frightening them with, if they didn't behave, he would, bring the mother home and abuse her. And then at the same time, he was telling her that he was going to abuse the boys if she didn't come home. So it was just all a very circular thing that was going on. They were all threatening each other from a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah, scary stuff indeed. So, I mean, so Jerry has the fear of God scared into him by his old man. Although there is a quote in the book that's very interesting that says at one point he was waiting outside, and I'm paraphrasing here. He was waiting outside. He had a brick in his hand. He was waiting for his old man to come out of the house.
Yeah.
And he just, I think that what was the way it went, that his dad never came out, luckily?
No, he didn't come outside at that time.
So
him and his brother had the plan going, and they were going to trap him and lure him and get him and hit him over the head, and everybody be happy and all this stuff. But then his dad never came outside, and it never really happened. And they were too they didn't want to try it again. They were too spooky to try it again. They were afraid that if they get really caught, then what he would really do would be worse.
Yeah. So we have this situation where Jerry has it in him. He knows he has it in him to kill. I mean, he's done this with animals. He's pulled them apart. He's set them on fire. He's played doctor with them. He's thought about taking out the old man at one time or another.
Yeah.
He knows he also has a part of him that's kind and responsible. And he proves this by going out and getting a job, saving money.
He had to have a job. He was very funny about work, and he had to have a job.
And it turns out that one of his relatives is that his aunt works down at the hospital.
Well, see, that's how it all started.
Yes.
Was the aunt was already working. See, when he moved in with her, she was already working at the hospital in a housekeeping capacity of some other. And she had a heart attack, and he's used part of that, his reason why he moved over there, for his dad to calm down. He was helping her. She had been sick. So he moved in with her to help her from this heart attack. But through her referral, he got a job at Tuskegee in maintenance in the surgical unit, to where he would come in and clean up the surgical suites and everything after surgeries and stuff. And so he would clean that up. And then on the other hand, they would turn him loose with patients to take patients to their room and stuff. So he'd be rolling people around in their wheelchairs and doing all kinds of things because he was such a nice guy. Even at the hospital, they thought he was great. Hey, here's Jerry. Jerry will do it. Come here, Jerry.
Yeah.
No, and he said, sure, I'll do it. And he'd do whatever work they asked. And they really liked it that they were able to have someone who was willing to come into a surgical suite and clean up the mess without having any problem with it or any delays or anything like that.
Right.
He liked blood.
So. And I suppose he's cleaning up a surgical suite. He's kind of getting his jollies. I know there's a...
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure he really loved it, I'm sure.
And I believe you talk at one point in the book that he talks about his fascination with blood and how when it's that red, he's kind of getting that charge off of it, but when it turns to that kind of chocolate brown, he's kind of turned off by it. He's got that.
Makes it almost yummy, doesn't it?
yeah. It's he's kind of got that fine.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's kind of got that fine line of turn on to it.
It's a dotted line, and any of us can cross that line any time of the day.
That's true. We have that fine line. That's for sure. Although I don't know mine is blood, I'll tell you that. So he's and let's start with the first two women and talk a little bit about the first two women, because really there comes a time now where, I guess for lack of a better term, Jerry Marcus is deciding that I guess I have to combine my two favorite hobbies, that being killing. I've got to graduate from pets and bugs,
pets to humans.
To humans, right?
Animals to humans. I'm not. He had watched the girls. The first one especially. He had watched her at the bus stop more than one day at a time. To watch and see what she really did, and if she left with someone or what she was carrying or whatever. And then the second one, he did the same thing, and he watched her too. The first one, he was able to see her, had met her indiscreetly in the surgical, when she was a student. She had been there and he had been there cleaning up, so he knew her from there. And he felt, I think that with his personality, he felt like him seeing them was enough of knowing them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether they knew him or not, he felt he knew them.
Right.
And was getting to know them better and better. And these ladies never even thought about it. They barely knew who he was.
Right.
But he still, in his own mind, all the times he had been watching them and listening to their conversation with the other girls and everything, the other employees, he had just felt that he knew that they were close to him and that they would respond in a positive manner when he tried to get aggressive.
So, and interestingly enough, now he incorporates for the first time ever with these feelings of rage, a sexual component.
Mm-hmm. And I think that frightened him.
Yeah.
I think that scared him. I mean, with the first victim, he couldn't even relate where he lost her, where the body was. They never found her body. They never found her. She just disappeared. And he relates that he had left her in a building that was under construction, and he thinks they built a building over where the body was, but he couldn't even relate today to where that was, or he wasn't willing to relate where that exactly was. And by the time they got around to these girls and the solving of where they went to their murders, it had been years. I mean, a total cold case. It had been years. There was no way to trace it. There was no way to follow up on those girls because they were just, well, the one girl, the second murder, she was recovered. Her body was recovered. And so there was some closure there, but with the first girl, she was just gone.
And what's odd about the first girl is he swears he took her, I believe, to a house, correct, where there had been some construction going on. And he swears that it had been one way the minute he dropped her there and completely changed. The house had been raised. Everything had been done differently. Yeah. The next time he went back. But it was a matter of how long between the time he had been there the first time and the second time.
It hadn't been very long at all. It's just a matter of days.
Yeah, which is a lot of work to do in a matter of days.
Well, see, he wasn't working at that time.
Yeah.
He had already given up that job, and he was between not knowing what he was going to be doing or what. Yeah. And so it was a very volatile time for him because he felt his whole world shaken. His aunt was sick and everything was coming down around him, I think he felt. Right. But I don't see why I have yet to figure out why he sought to relieve that by finally going after two human beings rather than animals.
You bring up a very interesting point, Linda Lou, and you know what? I think we'll take our break right here and we'll address that when we come back. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about why Jerry Marcus would kill at times when his life was out of control. And we'll talk about some of the ancillary things going on in his life. Because interestingly enough, Jerry maintained regular relationships while he was committing sexual abuse and murder. Right. And he would do other things while he was killing that you would not expect a serial killer to do. This was not your ordinary serial killer. So when we come back, we'll talk to Linda Lou a little bit about what it was that was so special about Jerry Marcus that made him not such an ordinary serial killer. When we come back, we'll talk more with Linda Lou Long about the Tuskegee Strangler, the nicest serial killer they ever met. We've got a link in the description of this program. Go click on it right now in the break. We'll get to all of that in just a moment. But first, you've heard Bruiser and I talk about this on the show for a couple of weeks now. We can't rave about it enough. I want to tell you guys a little bit about Microdose. So you probably heard about microdosing. If not, just know that all sorts of people are microdosing daily to feel healthier and perform better. Now, you may ask yourself, what exactly is microdosing? Microdose and the concept of microdosing is commonly associated with stuff like psychedelics and wellness, performance enhancement, creativity, etc. So in a word, microdosing is just this. You just take a small amount of the dosage of the medication that you're looking to take in order to get through the day. And sometimes it's a powerful enough medication that it gets you the desired effects without getting you the heaviness you might feel from the prescribed medication. See what I'm saying? The wonderful thing that the people at Microdose Gummies have done is they found a way to take their gummies, which have a balance of CBD and THC, and keep it within the legal limit so it can be shipped to all 50 states. And they give you just enough of the medication so you don't get that logy feeling, yet you still get the effect that you're looking for. You get that creative boost. You're enjoying the moment. You get the right amount of sleep you need at night. You get that pain relief, which is what I'm looking for. You get to take that edge off the anxiety. And it also helps you if you're working out and you need a recovery tool. One of the great things about Microdose Gummies as well, they taste and feel amazing. Let me tell you, I love the wild berry. The wild berry has kind of a hybrid of both the CBD and the THC. It gives me that perfect zone where not only am I getting a long-lasting effect of pain relief, but you've heard Bruiser say it before. He feels like his joints are lubed up, and that's kind of the way you feel all day long. So I take one in the morning, I take one at night, and I'm feeling pretty good all day long. It's all day long coverage, and I'm not in that constant excruciating pain that I'm normally in. Now, what comes, as you know, if you're a chronic pain patient with chronic pain, is anxiety that chronic pain is going to last all day long. You're almost waiting for that chronic pain to come back. But if you time out the way you take your gummies, you never have that anxiety that the pain is coming, which is another great benefit of having Microdose Gummies. Not only that, but those gummies are also helping your anxiety. Your anxiety and stress levels are less. You know what I'm also finding? I'm getting that creative boost from the Microdose Gummies, which I'm loving as well. I've also had a lot of you reach out to me and say, Tim, how can I get in on Microdose? You know, I'm hearing you and Bruiser having great experiences. You said people have contacted you by email. People are getting a hold of you on social media and saying that they're having great experiences. They're ordering them for their relatives who are in pain, or maybe they have anxiety, or maybe they're just using it to get in the creative boost or get in the moment, or maybe just getting rid of anxiety and getting better sleep. You know what, folks? I'm going to tell you this right now. Treat yourself right now while you can. Microdose is advertising with us right now, but the special that we're offering may not last forever. Microdose is available nationwide. Thank God for that. That's all I've got to say. They fall within national standards for the THC limit, which is great. That means it's available nationwide. They can ship nationwide as well. So Microdose is available nationwide. You want to learn more about microdosing THC? It's real simple. Go to microdose.com. They've got all the instructions right there. Use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com and code DARKNESS. Do yourself a favor, guys. You know, a lot of times you hear a lot of hype. There's no hype here whatsoever. Get yourself out of pain. Get yourself out of anxiety. Sleep much, much better. Give yourself a creative boost. Get a little help with your workout and recovery. Start using Microdose Gummies to enhance your life, enhance your quality of life. That's what we want to do in the end, right? Get yourself some Microdose Gummies today and do it with a generous discount. Like we said, Microdose is available nationwide. It's available right now. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com, use that code DARKNESS, get free shipping and 30% off your first order. The link can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, and use that code DARKNESS. Do it today. You're listening to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm Tim Dennis. Our guest is Linda Lou Long. We are talking about the book, The Tuskegee Strangler, the nicest serial killer they ever met. The story is about Jerry Marcus, who basically had them all fooled. And he did it by a little bit of misdirection. We're about to talk to Linda Lou Long about that. We kind of teased before the break that Jerry Marcus had a different way of doing things. We've been talking about his first two ladies that he killed, and he did that basically by hanging out around the campus of, what was the name of the college, that first college that he had worked at?
Well, it's Tuskegee University now, but it was Tuskegee College when he was there.
Okay.
The name has changed.
And he did this by basically observing them, observing their patterns. And then, again, interestingly enough, Linda Lou, these women were able-bodied women. These weren't women who were damsels.
No, they were capable. They were easily able-bodied. But, that's a mechanism of surprise. They had no idea. Mm-hmm. They felt quite safe on campus, as they should have been.
Right.
But, they felt they had no threat. They felt no threat. So they naturally had no, defense. Like when you walk down the streets of New York, you got a little bit of guard,
Mm-hmm.
You're paying attention to where you're going and what you're doing. But they didn't feel the need to pay that much attention when they were on campus because they felt safe. They felt it was okay there.
Right. Yeah, these were not damsels in distress. These were not women who were out of their element at all. These were professional.
These were students.
Yeah.
The one girl was getting ready to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
These were students and were reliable individuals. Good
mm-hmm.
girls.
They
didn't do anything wrong. They did not provoke.
Very smart. Very savvy.
Yeah, they weren't prostitutes or anything like that. They did not provoke.
Yeah, very smart, very savvy. And you could almost say, I believe I think it was the second one, she was actually very street smart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like Jerry really had to try to get one over, especially on the second victim, whose names, I'm sorry, escaped me at this particular moment. So at this point, Jerry is doing things that are unusual. And this is what I say when I say unusual for a serial killer. He's beginning to form relationships with the people he's killing.
Yes.
When I say relationships with these first two, it's not like he was dating them, but he was stalking them, getting to know them.
Yes.
And he got to know them within work, which is at Tuskegee University.
Right. That gave him the freedom to move around the campus and to be in areas where he wouldn't ordinarily be able to be as just an average citizen. He wouldn't be expected there or allowed there or anything. But because he had worked there, he was able to move around campus fairly easily. Everyone trusted him. Everyone knew who he was.
Yep. And so it's hey, remember me? I did this for you. I was here. I was there.
Right.
So there's an element of supposed safety.
Yes.
With these women. So they go, oh yeah, I guess I remember you. Oh, you know what, Jerry? I've got stuff I got to do. I don't really,
Right.
Right. So it is one of those things of supposed safety. But as Jerry starts to move on, he realizes that, you know what? I need to bring these people closer to me. I need to win them over. Rather than what most serial killers would do, which is to find more random victims. I need them as far away from me. They're objects.
Right.
They're objects for me to play with and dispose of. Jerry did the opposite.
He did the opposite. He killed within his comfort zone.
So I got to ask you this question, Linda Lou. In your opinion, why is it that Jerry is bringing these women in and making them closer, tying them closer to him rather than finding women that he doesn't know?
It could have something to relate to his mother. It could have something to relate to the fact that he's wanting to be nice to these women like he felt his mother should have been respected and been nice to by his father. Maybe. Mm-hmm. But I really can't say for sure because he changes his story so many different times, the reason why he did it. But he just, I can't explain. That's his personality. He just felt that he needed to get close to them in order to draw them in to where they would trust him and he wanted to earn their trust. I think that's part of what it was. He really wanted to earn these people's trust, that they would trust him like they did at work and knowing him and everything, that they would trust him too and be willing to have a relationship with him. And that really wasn't on their minds, either of them.
Yeah.
They had nothing to do with him relationship-wise. They didn't even know him in that manner. They only knew him as the maintenance guy, you know?
I have a theory, and I'm going to spring it on you towards the end of the program as to why I think he did what he did.
Theories are always good.
It's from a deep psychological point. You're going to think it may be a little ill, but it fits in a very Freudian way, and I'll tell it to you a little bit later. So when after Jerry makes these first couple of kills, he decides, or he meets, I believe it's Gwen, who he has a fascination with, and decides, hey, I want to marry this woman.
He didn't really meet Gwen. They went to school together.
Oh, I'm sorry. They went to school together.
So he knew her from school.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did this to these two women, and he didn't get caught, and he did kill the second one, and he didn't get caught, he felt that if he drew normality around him, drew things normal, tried to be more normal, like everyone else, him and Gwen, because she already had a family and been married before, but he wanted to get married to Gwen. And so they went ahead and got married. He became the stepfather for the daughters and everything else. So he married her right after all the incidents happened with those other two girls, because they didn't really happen because no one connected him to it. You know, while that was all going on, the murder of these girls, no one knew it was Jerry over here who did it.
Yeah.
No one had any idea that it could ever be Jerry that did it, because he left nothing that they could trace or anything like that. And then, you know, for the second female, when they found her, you know, her body and stuff, the students were looking for it. You know, the students from the campus were out looking for her in the woods and everything. So there wouldn't have been any crime scene, because it would have all been trampled and everything by people who didn't know any better. And that was way back in the day, and there wasn't CSI or anything like that. You know, crime scene detectives or any of that sort of thing to solve crimes. And so I think that he went with Gwen, and he finally ended up marrying Gwen as a safety net, because he felt that if he got together with Gwen and made a family with her kids and everything, and started working full time again on a different job, that he could be a success. And that it was as though the other girls had never even happened. It's as though the incidents at Tuskegee University never happened to him.
So he gets a little normality with Gwen. He gets a little normality with the stepkids, but that even starts to fall apart. Yeah,
that didn't last either. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. You know, I think it was 3 or 4 years. And then he got a friend of his had gone on to the college there in Knoxville College in Tennessee, and he offered him a football scholarship because they needed someone like him to play on the football team, et cetera, whatever. But he took that opportunity to go play and to go back to school. He still had this thing that he wanted to get a degree in school.
Right.
And so he was still going to go back. He was going to get a phys ed degree. He was going to do medicine related to physical activities and gymnastics and all that stuff. But when he left, you know, Gwen, he basically went first to just be a student. And during that time that he was gone, they ended up splitting apart. I mean, he came home for a visit, but she ended up locking him out, and they split during that time.
It sounds like maybe Gwen or Jerry might have been a little abusive with Gwen during the time they were together. No.
I don't think so. Okay. I never found any record of abuse with Gwen. He was very respectful of her because he had other ideas on her as far as she was from, her and her family were from Louisiana.
Ah, okay.
So he was always respectful of the fact that he felt that she could turn some sort of dark magic against him or something like that.
Well, yeah, he was convinced she was a witch and that
Yeah.
she was
Something like that. And that she kept bottles of water in closets. I'm not sure what that signifies. And she would keep his hair trimmings after she cut his hair and his fingernails and stuff like that. And, he was very respectful of her. He never touched her.
Okay.
He never had any sort of a confrontation with her. And when they finally split up, it was long distance. And he went for the longest time refusing even. He told me by his letters that he wouldn't sign the divorce paperwork that she sent to him when he was in prison. He wouldn't sign it.
Well, didn't she move somebody else in at one point?
That I'm not sure about.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. So, so she basically is done with Jerry when he decides to go to school. But he had even admitted that he had women on the side once he had decided.
Oh, sure. While he was at school, he had relationships with at least two different women, and conceived children with them both.
Okay.
And he talked about how he had to work on campus again, and he worked in the phys ed department, and lived on campus, supporting the family and all this stuff. He was still the family man. Once he had been a family man with Gwen, he didn't want to give that up. He wanted to do it again. And that's what he did at the university. He became a family man, lived on campus, had a good job, relied upon, all that stuff. Another guy everyone could trust. And
it seems to me he does this so that he remains tethered to reality and doesn't go off and give into that rage.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I think that he is drawn towards having a family and a stable relationship with a wife and children and all things like that, demonstrating that he can be normal. He can be normal just like anybody else. He may not be all the time, but he's normal then. And that's what matters.
But then just like every other job he's ever had, things kind of go off the rails in Knoxville.
Yeah, he got in trouble at the college. Someone stole equipment out of one of the locked areas that he was the only one that had the key for. And then it came out that he had given the key to the guy because the guy was going to borrow the stuff, and then he didn't bring it back and all kinds of stuff. But he lost that job too. And then after he lost that job, that's when he started slipping off again.
And see, this is the pattern that Jerry starts to set up, that when life is starting to go off the rails, he gives into the rage and the addiction that is having to kill, having to release.
I don't know so much as gives into it, but rather can't get away from it.
Sure.
I think that those emotions have control over him in that sense, and that he goes into I'm not sure what to call it. There isn't really a term for it, but he goes into a state of panic. Emotional panic when he loses his job and he loses his responsibilities, the structure surrounding him to help him build his life normal. When that starts caving in, then he starts freaking out.
I see what you're saying there, Linda Lou, but the way I read it and the way I read into how you put it on the page, I look at it the same way that an alcoholic or a drug abuser, when life is going good, they're clean.
Yeah.
And things are great. Things are going my way. But the minute life falls apart, it's an instant to decide that, okay, now I'm going to abuse again. Now I'm going to use. Now you know what? This is a perfect time to use, because why not? My entire life's fallen apart over one incident.
Well, again, he linked all of that. Excuse me. He linked losing that job on campus and losing his position there. He linked all of that to work. That was, he lost his job. So he was searching for another job. And the first time he left Knoxville. And before he came back, it was 2 different times there. But the first time he went south hitching. He just wanted to get away. And he just started hitching pickup trucks or semi trucks or whatever to go south, and to hopefully end up back, at home in Tuskegee. and he eventually made it there. But I mean, he just split. He just left. He didn't have anywhere to sleep anymore. He slept out on a ball field one night.
Right.
Everybody had their fill of listening to his line of whatever,
Right.
because after a while, people figure it out.
Right.
That he's not all that trustworthy, and they can't depend on him to do what he says.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was his first time. But, then after he came back, he tried it again.
Right.
Tried to make things right again. Still couldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But the easiest way, Linda Lou, to run into a serial killer is go out hitchhiking, right? I mean,
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's to put one. I mean, it's like saying to an alcoholic, well, if you don't want to drink, don't go to a bar. I mean, it's and then that
where do killers go? If you didn't want to kill anyone, then where do you go?
Yeah, then don't go hitchhiking, right? I mean,
you can even kill them at home. You can stay home and kill. So
right, exactly.
And I believe that's part of the cold case investigation that's going to come out of this book, is that there are other cases that we think we can tie to Jerry Marcus, the incidents that occurred in other states, the states that he went through, his trucking trips, and then other additional ones, especially in Knoxville, Tennessee. They have others.
Yeah. So, like you mentioned, he goes and he takes this hitchhiking trip. I know Margarita Sturdivant was one of his victims. Do you want to talk a little bit about her and how that came about? He was his third victim, correct? Was that still back in Knoxville?
Yes. No, he killed his third victim in Tennessee.
Okay.
In Knoxville. Yes.
Okay.
And she was very stable. She was a state employee. She had a good job. She helped him get his his food stamps.
Yep.
So he could have food to eat, because he was down to being able to not do anything. So he went on the employment history and got food stamps. And that's how he met her.
Yeah.
And she was dead within 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. And she had no idea.
Yeah.
He just was such a nice guy, and he took her out and everything. And it's just unfortunate, but she was an accomplished state employee. She was fine. She had a husband. They were separated, but she had a husband and a family. Right.
Then there's the killing of the woman who he went to play tennis with.
Well, he played tennis with more than one of them.
Right. But this woman.
He played tennis with the one, the girl that he murdered in Knoxville. He played tennis with her. Matter of fact, the incident occurred after she had showered after they had played tennis.
Right.
That's when the incident occurred.
Right. Yep. That's the one I'm looking at. Yep.
Yeah. And she, he just strangled her out of the shower, and she had no forewarning, nothing.
Wasn't she a state employee as well? Or
yes, she was the state employee. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was a state employee.
Okay, yeah. And he continues to, as his life is spiraling out of control, he's continuing to use the killing motive. And as you pointed out earlier in the program, he goes from using the belt to eventually, as he's getting more and more into
bare hands.
Yep, he's using bare hands.
Even closer with bare hands.
Yeah, and he's getting more and more violent. And the other thing that's a little colder and a little more frightening is he's doing it without a second thought. He's not realizing that he's doing it.
He had no remorse.
Yeah.
He never learned remorse. He never learned remorse from his father. He never saw his father express any remorse after injuring or hurting his mother, or him, or the other boys, kids, son, brother. Yeah.
And it's
he never learned remorse. You have to learn these things. It doesn't just come to you naturally. You need to learn things like remorse over a guilty action, an action that you take that, you may not think it is, but you should, and you should feel remorse for it.
Right.
You feel like you shouldn't have done it, but he didn't. He didn't feel that at all.
No.
He just felt like he should have done it a different way. Each one, he always went back over thinking, well, maybe if I'd have done it this way, or maybe if I'd have done it that way. it would have been different or better. So,
Without spoiling a little bit of the ending of this here, Linda Lou, when Jerry gets caught, is it mainly because he feels more sorry for himself, or what the consequences are going to be for himself?
no, he didn't really care. In the end, the last four girls he killed all within days of each other. And they were all girls the one girl, he went to school with her. He already knew her, but he killed her anyway. And the others were strangers, but he just, I can't explain. That's the whole thing about Jerry Marcus, that there's really no explanation for why he did it the way he did it and what he was seeking, what he was trying to resolve, because he wasn't. He was just doing it.
Let's run down those girls real quick, because he went from the state worker in Tennessee. Then he was going in an odd pattern. He was trying to get back to Tuskegee because he knew that was ground zero. He felt like maybe the heat was off. He could go back to Tuskegee.
Well, they never suspected him there in the first place, see?
Right.
For those first two girls. No one ever suspected him there, but that wasn't totally true. Al Kendall suspected him, and he was a detective working there, but he never had enough evidence to hook Jerry to any of that, to the girls. There was also a neighbor had mentioned that he had been window peeping, and he bragged about window peeping and stuff. He could never catch him, but he always knew there was something going on with Jerry Marcus. He just could never put enough information together to catch him, or to have, you have to have enough evidence for an arrest.
Right.
You can't just arrest people. You have to have enough evidence and proof, and he didn't have that, so he couldn't do that.
The other thing that Jerry Marcus isn't counting on is the fact that technology is getting better.
Oh, yeah.
And
technology really didn't play a part in this at all.
Mm-hmm.
There were no cell phones back then.
Mm-hmm.
There was no internet really to be. And the courthouse that I mentioned in there that burned, that had all of the records of his court case in it, they had no digital records then. It was all just file cabinet after file cabinet.
Yeah.
So when that data burns, it's gone.
Right.
And the only reason why I found it was because another individual in the DA had kept a copy because he was the uncle of one of the girls. So he had kept a copy, and he gave me his copy, or I would have never been able to retrieve that information. And I just found him by accident.
Not only was he the uncle of one of the girls, didn't he have a familial tie to Jerry as well?
Well, they already knew Jerry, see?
Uh-huh.
She was one of the girls that lived there, too. They already knew Jerry. And so, and he was, it was very strange, because everybody's still saying to each other, Jerry, what? How could it be Jerry? That's a mistake. That can't be true.
Yeah.
Because, see, even then, they never knew. Even then, no one knew anything of the proof until he was finally arrested by David Lindley in Starkville, Mississippi. But no one even knew. He hadn't told anyone. He kept it to himself. He never told anyone. No other witnesses, no one.
Which is amazing for as social as he was. That's the other thing you find out in the book, is he really does talk to a lot of people. He has a lot of interactions.
But he only talked to them about the external things he wanted to talk about. He didn't share any of his personal information.
Yeah.
Even now, I've never spoken to Gwen either, because none of this is about those ladies. So I've never spoken to her about their relationship. But he didn't share that with anybody. No one knew. No one had even the slightest idea.
Interesting.
And then until he confessed at the very end, and he started listing them off to him. He said, well, I just didn't do Dot Davis, which he got caught for. Mm-hmm. No, I did so-and-so, and he went down the list. And that's when they started looking. That's when they sent out to the backyard to find the body that was buried there.
And we'll talk about the body in the backyard, too, in a moment. That was actually buried in the backyard of the house that he was staying at, which you want to talk about not blanking where you eat. But one of the women that he killed was actually one that, speaking of not blanking where you eat, his auntie introduced him to a woman who was relatively close to her.
Right. She went to his church, her church.
Yeah.
And she had met her. She knew her from church, and he knew her kind of. His aunt said he should have remembered her because she was younger. See, she wasn't in high school with him, so he couldn't really remember her like that. But she felt really guilty for it too. She said, I had no idea. I would have never. She said, we had no idea. Nothing.
Of all the people you would think to have restraint with, it would be the one that your auntie knows.
Oh, no. She was one of the quickest. She was one of the quickest he turned around. And she also blew up on him, too. She fought back. We should explain to our audience at this time that Jerry has a girlfriend by the name of Lynn, who he has a child with, I believe, right? Yes.
Okay. So, and Laverne is this girl's twin sister, but he keeps calling her Laverne in different confessions. Yeah. I don't remember what this lady's name was. But so he keeps saying to her, well, we should get together and go for a drive. Maybe we'll go get Kentucky Fried Chicken or something like that. So they go for a drive. They go get something to eat, but they go into the restaurant because they don't want to eat in the car.
Right.
It's after that they have relations in the car.
Right.
And for some reason or another, Jerry just decides, well, I'm going to head her off at the pass, right?
He said that it was because he felt that she had done something to him that she just wouldn't tell him about. That she had told someone that he took money. It didn't make any sense, the excuse that he concocted. And I think that's all it was. It was just an excuse. Yeah. I think he met her with the intent to kill. Wow. I think when he met her, that was his intent. He was going to try it again. He was going to get it right finally. The first two, he couldn't be sure. The first one, she was just gone. Second one, she was, recovered, but he didn't know anything. And for years, hadn't heard anything. And then the one that he killed there in Knoxville, they had no idea. He set up the scene. He completely changed his MO, and he set everything up, cleaned everything up. It was spotless.
Well, I know with this woman, he had mentioned something. He had changed his story a couple different times, and one of the stories was, well, she was starting to, get a little clingy or whatever, and I told her right away I had a girlfriend, and she got upset and she kicked the windshield out. Right.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said that and that was confusing. It was Lynn's car he was driving.
Yeah.
And then when she did the windshield, then he had to explain to Lynn how the windshield got broken, and that supposedly is what set him off.
Yeah.
That he was going to have to explain to someone where he had been with their car, and he was going to have to cook up a whole new story.
Yep.
He couldn't tell her he was out on a date with a woman to kill her. No. He had to cook up a whole new story, and that made him mad. That made him madder. That, well, look, now you've done this, and now I have to figure out how to tell him that I killed you when I didn't want to tell him in the first place.
And what's even crazier is he's trying to figure out, as he's trying to get her into the house, he's having a hard time getting her into the house. He bumps her head on the stair and busts her open, so she's bleeding everywhere. Yeah. Post-mortem, of course.
Yeah.
Gets her in the house and forgets he was going to rob her of some valuables or something that he could sell to get money. He forgot to do that. Right. And then he's thinking, well, how am I going to get rid of the evidence, the body, whatever? Well, I guess I'll just turn on the gas in the house and hope it ignites.
Right. And the whole thing blows up. It's so that in itself is so dumb. Right. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. And that's why I asked him, I said, well, Jerry, that doesn't make any sense. How how would the house blow up just from the stove being left on? Oh, I've seen it on TV. So I guess he had seen that before and figured that that was a way to do it. And that's what he did. But of course, the house never blew up. And
Yeah.
her body was discovered a few days later. And since it was that time of year, it was fragrant and
Yeah.
attracted attention. And
Oh yeah. Yeah. And so in down the line here, Linda Lou, as we go from of these four women, as you go from one to the next, he goes from cleaning up the scene completely to just getting sloppier and sloppier. As we get to Dot, who's the final woman he murders.
yeah, he just tossed her.
He just threw her over an embankment.
Yeah, he just tossed her body.
Which, you know,
It's sloppy.
it almost screams, I want to get caught.
One of the secrets of a true killer is you always figure out where you're going to put your body first.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll know. And then you already have a site secure. So when you're stuck with a dead body, if you killed someone, you have somewhere to put them.
It just, like I said, it just screams, I want to get caught. I'm out of control.
It would seem that way, but yet he didn't leave a trail. Not like that. I mean, they found these girls and stuff, but I mean, until he actually got caught, with Dot Davis and with making the mistakes there, and he told the truth. That's when they finally went back to Tuskegee and found those other bodies and were able to link him to all the others. Because he didn't tell them. He only told them 1, 2, 3, and they finally told him about all of them.
But he made I guess subconsciously, he made the blatant mistake of getting caught in that he had been seen with her throughout the day and that people knew that he was out with her throughout the day. And then she was dead that same day.
They had seen him. It was like he felt that he was a ghost, like no one could see him, like he was so special that no one would ever suspect him, even if he was right there with his victims, even if he was seen, in a compromising situation. It wouldn't matter. I'm Jerry Marcus. They'll never suspect me.
Yeah.
And that's the way he felt.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So Linda Lou, I promised you that at the end of this program, I would give you a theory as to why I believed Jerry Marcus was the way Jerry Marcus was. And it was completely Freudian.
Please share.
Okay. It was simply this, that Jerry Marcus never was given the love of his father and was constantly trying to seek his approval. So in that way, he was emulating his father. But he also needed the approval of his father and needed to go one step further than his father ever did. In his mind, sickly, I believe he thought if he could kill these women, a place that his father could never go, he would impress his father.
Right. That his father would know that he could really do it.
That's right.
And he could complete the task.
That's right. He could get the job done.
I wouldn't doubt that a bit. With Jerry Marcus, I think it's more than just one thing. He's a very complex person, very complex personality. And he can turn it on and turn it off. He's very good.
The sexual part of it, he was really not able to, and this is quite graphic, folks. If you have kids in the room, get them out right now. I'll give you another couple of seconds here. The sexual part of it, the gratification, he wasn't truly gratified unless they were.
He never was satisfied. He never achieved his goal. Let's say it like that.
But he was close, and I think, again, sickly, it was because none of them was his mother. He truly did want to beat and kill his mother.
Yeah.
And in every woman that he was beating and killing, he was seeing his mother.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That could be a big part of it. There's so many pages. There's so much. It's so deep.
Yeah.
There's so much to. There's a lot to all serial killers and all killers in general and people that break the law, but there's so many different layers to Jerry Marcus that they'll be watching him for a while. even now.
I think so. And here's the thing, folks, and believe me, I'm not spoiling anything in this book. In fact, I'm not even going to spoil the ending. The ending is absolutely chilling and terrifying. Linda Lou
Is it really? You like that?
I shivered.
Well, I've never had an experience like that in my life. I've been in law enforcement and in and out of federal, state, all that stuff. And in other states, I've never experienced anything like that in my life, but we won't get further.
Don't say anything else, Linda Lou. I'll tell you, folks, the end of this book, I got chills right now just thinking about it again, Linda Lou. Folks, get the book just for the ending. But there are things in this book about Jerry Marcus that will absolutely turn your stomach, that will absolutely... And Linda Lou does an amazing job of getting correspondence from Jerry, from getting inside the head of Jerry. And
he knew from the very start what the plan was. You know, I sent him a letter as Dear John Doe from Jane Doe.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even tell him my name for a long time. And the whole time I corresponded with him, I used a P.O. box, so he never knew my home address.
Good.
My phone number, anything like that.
Good.
But, you know, he knew from the very start, you know, what it was all about. And I've been the only one. So.
Good. And I'm glad. And I'm glad you're safe, Linda Lou, because the capability that Jerry Marcus has in him is absolutely terrifying.
And it's still there. And it's still, even though he's an older guy, it's still there. You can still see it in his eyes. It's still there.
It's absolutely terrifying. Let me ask you one more question here, Linda Lou. I know you mentioned in the book that Jerry Marcus's mom and aunt are gone now. And
yes.
he doesn't have hardly any, if any, relatives left.
Right.
The controls are off should Jerry Marcus ever see parole. And I don't know if he will or not.
He'll never be eligible.
Okay.
Because in Mississippi, he's been served a sentence in all 3 states. And in Mississippi, he has a life sentence because they don't have the death penalty there. That's how this all started. He was caught in Mississippi. So he's got the life penalty there. And then if he ever completes that life sentence, then he goes to Knoxville. He's got a life sentence there for the murder there. Then back in Tuskegee, he's got a life sentence there for the murders that occurred there.
Okay. All right.
So he will never see the light of day again unless it's without authority, without handcuffs.
Okay. Is there any interest from his children, the children that are out there, of seeing him? Do they want to see him?
No, I've only had correspondence with one of the victim's aunts, and I sent her the information I had on her so that she was able to close her book. I sent her the nice picture I had of the, you know, there's no portraits, there's no really bad portraits or anything shown in the book. You know, I have those. Oh,
I mean, Jerry Marcus's children. Did Jerry Marcus's children want to see him?
I have no idea.
Okay. The reason I ask this is this, because we all know with a narcissist, especially at this level, wanting the attention, wanting the appreciation, wanting the love, and wanting the adoration for being at that level. As you mentioned at the beginning of this program, I mean, you might have mentioned it to me. You might not have even mentioned it on the show. There was not a lot of media attention for what he did.
No.
So there wasn't anything. There wasn't
anything.
There wasn't the adoration of the media.
Never.
No
one picked up on it. The FBI never even picked up on it. No one.
He never got the adoration of
the notoriety.
Or the notoriety, thank you.
That may be what he was seeking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he never got that, and he still kept going, kept killing.
So knowing that he never got that notoriety, he never got it really from his father before his father passed.
Oh, no. No.
What is the end game for him?
I don't think there is one, because there's no one left. Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, I've had no contact, so I don't know if he's had any relationship with the other girlfriend or wife that he was married to, or the woman in college they had the other child with, I have no idea. Because I didn't feel that getting into their personal and private life should be part of this mess. This is Marcus's mess. It doesn't deserve to have them brought into it.
What does Jerry Marcus think of this book?
I haven't spoken to him. I had about 8 years ago, I was contacted by an assistant district attorney from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even recall her name, but she wanted to link Marcus to additional cold cases they had there. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, that sounds like a great idea. Why don't you let me get in touch with him, send him a letter, because that's the only way I'll communicate, and we can get together. Well, she didn't wait. She went around and she contacted the warden, and she contacted Jerry Marcus through the warden, and he shut his mouth. And he's never spoken since. He hasn't spoken to me since.
Really?
It was almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
And that was because she interfered. If she had just done what I asked her to do, we could have possibly gotten in and interviewed him, and he would have been willing to give more information. But if they try to force it out of him, he's not going to tell them nothing. And that's the approach they've so far tried, and it's not going to work because he's not going to tell them. But I do think there are others. There's other cases. There's others. His MO was even traced. The way he did things, and once it got out into the policing community, and since this has come out and the press release and all, there's already been contact from retired officers who worked that case in Knoxville, who have more information, who have links to other situations and other cases and other kills that they think that Marcus is involved. So hopefully this is going to go further, and that there'll be other victims that we'll be able to find, the loose ends that can be tied up for families that are still waiting for answers. Because that's what it all boils down to. Families waiting for answers to their loved ones who are just gone.
Yeah, and let's hope he'll give that information up. Do you feel like, if given a second chance, you could get in there and reestablish that link with them, or do you have no interest in doing that? Yeah.
Yes. I'm hoping that we're able to do that. David Lindley and myself, he was the chief of police. Mm-hmm. He was a detective when he arrested Marcus. He was the chief of police when I put the story together. And now he's retired. But we've talked, and it would be nice for him and myself and Al Kendall to finally get together with him again. Yeah. To say, okay, we're back. Now what can you tell us?
Yeah. Well, I hope you get that link going with him again, and you can get some of that stuff up there in Knoxville solved. Folks, I encourage you to click on the link in the description of this book, or check out wildbluepress.com or amazon.com. Get your copy of the book. The book is pretty darn amazing, and if you really want to get inside the mind of a serial killer who is hiding in plain sight, who's that nice guy that's standing right next to you, if you truly want to get a chill up your spine this week, go ahead and order a copy of that book. The book is amazing. The book is called The Tuskegee Strangler, the Nicest Serial Killer They Ever Met. Our guest for this program has been Linda Lou Long. Linda, thank you so much for joining us today on True Crime Tuesday.
Thank you, sir. You have a wonderful day.
Yep, you as well. Thank you so much, Linda. We're going to change gears here. We're going to bring in Beer City Bruiser, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News Story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time once again. It's time for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, the second half of our program, the one that you've been waiting for all program long. So we bring in the one, the only, the BCB, the big cuddly bear, Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
I'm doing pretty good, Cruiser. I'm a little tired, like we were talking off air.
I'm lagging today, so picking it up, and I know that we're gonna have a good time because we always do with these dumb crimes and stupid criminals.
I know they've been beating the stuffing out of our bear this weekend, but that's okay. He's gonna recover, folks. He's got his microdose gummies, and we'll get him back up and moving here in no time.
They're a godsend. I told you that before. They're a godsend.
They are. that they are indeed. By the way, close circuit to Microdose. You sent me a very nice box of Microdose gummies, but we need to get one for Bruiser too. So I'm just saying. I enjoyed the box you sent me, but I'd really enjoy it if you'd send a box to Bruiser because he's still getting beat up. I only get beat up by nephews and nieces. He gets beat up by much bigger men than I do. So
this weekend was a very large man I got beat up by. He was bigger than me, and I was happy for it because it's like, oh, cool, I don't have to do as much. But then it's like, oh man, he's so big.
Yeah, that artist formerly known as Braun Strowman's a big guy.
Well, no, it wasn't him. I shared a locker room with him.
Oh, okay. Well, you had C.W. Anderson too, didn't you?
He was there too. Shows.
But you had. I'm sorry. You had a big. Okay, never mind.
I had a big guy, big large man. Mm-hmm. Beat me up on Saturday, and then Sunday I had 5 men try to beat me up.
Jeez, so. You know what you need?
What?
You need to start passing out those microdose gummies.
I do. In fact, the guy Saturday.
Did you?
He when we got done, because it was 115 degrees in this building, and he's sore, and I go, hey man, here's 2 of these. Take one when you get home. It'll change your life. Then take one when you wake up in the morning. You'll be okay.
Wow.
And I got a message on Sunday last night. He's like, how do I get these? So I sent them over with our code, and I said, there you go. I said, you're welcome.
There you go. See? Look at those guys at Microdose. They got to know that we're changing the world one person at a time.
Exactly. That's all it takes.
Exactly. Bruiser, I got to tell you, over the weekend, while you were getting the stuffing beat out of you, I was working in a different way. I was over in St. Cloud at KNSI. And so as I do after my shift, I went over to Granite City Comics, and I treated myself, not beated myself, so to speak. And I got this here. I'll hold it up for you. It's radio, so nobody else can see it.
It's a Florida Man comic book.
Yes, it is.
Like I said off air, Tim, the best part about that comic is that the cover looks like that suntan lotion where the dog's pulling down the baby's thing, but it's an alligator doing it.
Yes, it's an alligator pulling down a shapely woman's bikini bottom right on the bottom side. The Florida Man comic is put out by American Mythology Productions, and it is pretty funny, folks. I got to tell you. You can go to floridamancomics.com and get yourself a copy of the Florida Man comic, or you can just look up my buddies over there at Granite City Comics. Go to granitecitycomics.com. They'll get you a copy of it as well. I got the variant cover. It is rated teen, so it's not for the kids, of course. Although
I think Florida's just rated teen, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's not a rated G or PG state, that's for sure. The man behind the genius that is Florida Man Comics is a longtime comic book writer by the name of, let me grab his name here, Mike Barron. And Mike Barron has actually 3 different graphic novels out there, Florida Man, Hogzilla, and Catfish Calling, which are available as part of, and you can get them through their ebooks available through Amazon as well. So if you look up either Florida Man, Hogzilla, or Catfish Calling, you can get the ebooks on Amazon. And the art is very good in them as well. But they're based on central characters that he's come up with. And the way he's come up with them is he's actually taken real stories from Florida Man them himself, and he's just combined these stories along with these characters he's made up, these fictional characters, and they're hysterical. That's all I can say. the stories just in this number one issue alone are pretty darn funny. So I encourage you to go out and get Florida Man Comics. And I'm going to try to get Mike Barron on the show so we can talk to him a little bit about what inspired him to make Florida Man Comics, because I just think that...
Oh, probably because every story that comes out of Florida, no one's going to believe it. It seems like fake. It doesn't seem like... It seems like a comic book.
It does. But, you know, in that, it's also good fodder, good material. Sure, Florida Man isn't going to have a superpower by any means, unless it's the power to consume meth and beer and not be able to be subdued by the police. But... I mean, you know, it actually has a funny plot to it. Just one that I'm not going to blow for you. I'm not going to spoil it, but by all means, it's one that you're going to want to read, and you'll get a kick out of it. It's well worth the price tag on the comic. The comic itself, you know, it used to be, Bruiser, when we were kids, comics were 50, 75 cents.
Yep.
The price of this comic, $4, $3.99. So,
they've gone up a bit.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
I've been so used to just going and buying back issues of stuff where I'm spending, you know, $25 to $200. You know. Yeah. Because and it's great because remember they used to have the 10 cents for comic books.
Right. Yeah.
Now they're, you know, and who knows? Florida Man might be one of those.
Yeah.
Something could happen where Florida Man picks up and all of a sudden its collector's price goes way up.
Well, see, if you'll notice, this in the very left-hand side here says variant. I got the variant cover.
See? So, yeah, that's going to be a little more expensive.
Yeah. So I got there's actually 4 variants to issue number 1. I got the variant with the gator tugging on the lady's bikini bottom. So I figured that would be the one. That's going to be the variant that's going to have the most value to it. So what I'll do is I'll now go get this graded and put behind the plastic sealed covers. And if I can, maybe I'll get Mike Barron and the art team to autograph it and then get it sealed.
And then that'll be lots and lots of money in a few years when this catches on.
You betcha. Because
that's a 9.9 at least right there because you just bought it. You only cracked it open a couple times.
Well, it might be a 9.6 by now because I've thumbed through it once or twice. But you know, it's bagged and boarded and it's all set to go. So I think I can probably turn it in over at Granite City Comics because they'll take it off and send it off and have it graded for me. I've had a few other books graded.
Yeah.
So I think, actually I've had some pretty expensive books graded by them. They offer that service. And so, I think I could probably get that autographed and
you know what's funny about that is the grading. Mm-hmm. I believe the headquarters for comic grading is in Florida.
CGC?
Yeah, I think CGC is out of Florida, isn't it?
I thought it was Michigan, but maybe
it could be. You know, it could be Michigan. I thought it was either New Jersey or Florida.
They have an ad in this book, actually. CGC does. So I think they're begging for Florida Man books to be graded. I'm not quite sure, but I know CGC is out there, and they're out there somewhere making money grading books. But
at every Comic-Con, you can go to any Comic-Con and they have a booth, and you walk over and it's like $75, I think, at the Comic-Cons.
Yeah, yep.
To get a book graded.
What's nice about getting it graded through a comic book shop like Granite City Comics up there in St. Cloud is you get you can get a few books graded for one price.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because a couple of weeks ago when you and I were talking off air, and I went through and I looked up a couple of ones, and I have 4 of them set aside. I'm going to get graded.
Yeah. I took I got my, George Perez recently passed away. Big time.
He did?
Yeah, he passed away from cancer.
Oh, that's sad. He was a great artist.
Yeah, pancreatic cancer took George Perez. Neil Adams has passed away too.
I knew that.
Yeah.
If we lose Romita Jr., then I'm just gonna. If we lose JRJ, I'm gonna lose it. I love John Romita Jr.
Really, he's one of your favorites?
He's a Daredevil artist, man. And he took Frank Miller's vision of Daredevil and continued it, and then he went to Spider-Man for a bit, and now I think he's doing Superman.
He's back. He's back on Spider-Man.
He's back on Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah, they just relaunched Amazing Spider-Man with from number 1 with JRJR.
But I fell in love with him when he did the Daredevil run. I have I have so many copies of his Daredevil runs.
See, I'm a big John Byrne guy. I've always been a big John Byrne guy, and got a lot of John Byrne books. So we've digressed into comic book talk on.
We're gonna get yelled at because we're a comic book podcast now.
Yep. What are you doing, Tim and Bruiser? It was wrestling, now it's all comic books. Why can't you shut the fuck up over the comic books?
Just tell us about these idiots causing all these stupid crimes.
Well, we are talking Florida Man comics, guys. Come on. So John Byrne. John Byrne was always my guy. So if he dies, I'm done. I'm a mess. I'm opening the dungeon door here. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Is it creaking a little bit? I'm a mess if John Byrne dies. I did meet Neil Adams a couple of years ago at a comic book convention.
I heard he was a to himself guy, real private, but he was very polite at any autograph signing he did.
Very nice guy, very much into Bigfoot and Sasquatch. He was
really,
yeah, and he was making a movie, which I'm curious, and his wife was there too. And we had exchanged business cards, and I was talking to him about trying to get him on the show before he died, and unfortunately he passed away. So, he also had some issues with diabetes. So and it was sad to know that he had passed away. But
and what's really good is a lot of his stuff's being made into TV shows and movies now.
Yeah,
like it's his time right now.
Yeah. Yep.
I know Amazon Prime's got 2 or 3 shows that are based on his stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So a lot of comic book influences in the supernatural, paranormal, and now true crime. As you can get Florida Man Comics, go to floridamancomics.com. I encourage you to go out there and at least check it out. Check it out and be a little entertained if you're.
Well, and if we're going to stick on the true crime with the comic books, there's a comic book series based on Jeffrey Dahmer called My Friend Jeffrey.
Really?
It was yep. So the guy who went to high school with this guy, and after everything Jeffrey did and it all came out in the news media, he's an artist, so he wrote this graphic novel, and it's about their time in high school and how Jeffrey he doesn't say Jeffrey was odd. He always said he was off, and he drank a lot and he would do things, and they said. He tells a story about how whenever there was a photograph being taken at a club, they'd figure out a way to sneak Jeffrey into it. And if you go back and look at their high school yearbook, there's one club where they actually black out Jeffrey's face because he wasn't part of the club when they printed the yearbook. But it's called My Friend Jeffrey.
Wow.
I think they made a movie out of it, but it's a comic book series. I think it might be graphic novel now. I don't know if you can get any more first prints, but I got them very well drawn. Not a lot of like superhero stuff, what people are used to in comics. It's more like them telling stories and then Jeffrey just being weird.
A lot of the better ones aren't necessarily, and you know what? We're working on getting a segment together with Granite City Comics with Jay, one of the owners of Granite City Comics, to come on a weekly basis on Supernatural News, because there's a resurgence of the horror and paranormal genre in comics right now. And a lot of the better comics, a lot of the better written comics out there are not superhero comics. No, they're based on either real life things or what I always called the movie monsters, the Frankenstein, Dracula, all that, you know. Yeah, there's one based on like an old 80s horror by the lake in a cabin type comic book. I'm collecting it right now. I'm trying to remember what it's called. The name's escaping me, but I've been picking up issues of it, and I've been saving up the issues so I can read them all at one time. Yeah, I'm kind of a binger that way. With series that I'm not into on a monthly basis that have multiple issues, what I'll do is I'll save up a bunch at one time and I'll read them. But I have a bunch of those issues, and I think it's put out by, is it Image or DC? But there's a lot of horror comics out right now that are doing really, really well. They've got I'm looking for actually a Tomb of Dracula with the first appearance of Blade, because everyone thinks Blade appeared in Spider-Man. He didn't. He appeared in Tomb of Dracula. Yeah, which is a horror comic. And then the other one I want to pick up is Werewolf by Night, because that's where Moon Knight first debuted. So anybody watching the Moon Knight series, he actually debuted in Werewolf by Night. That's a hard one to get a hold of right now, that Moon Knight first appearance. The Blade one's going to be pretty hard to get a hold of here too in a little bit, because Blade's supposed to be back in.
That's why I want to get it, because I lucked out. I've always collected Daredevil and Punisher, and then Netflix went and made the shows, and I was very happy for that because my books go up in price.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Today's program, Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, Bruiser, has themes within themes within themes within the program. The first part of the program is called "Whoops, I Did What." That's what the first part is called. The second one is we'll just go theme by theme, and I'll let you know how we're progressing from here. But the first couple of stories are "Whoops, I Did What." This first story is kind of a "say what" type story. Police say a man shot a woman in the neck, but it ended up killing him.
Say what?
Exactly. Say what?
Is she made of adamantium and it just popped out and hit him?
See, you would think. Dallas police believe the bullet exited her neck and hit the suspect. It's a possible Darwin Awards contender out of Texas. This happens
I'm curious to hear the physics behind this.
In Dallas, right? Dallas police say a 26-year-old man died Saturday after shooting a woman in the neck, with said bullet exiting her neck and somehow striking him in the leg. It was a fatal wound, by the way. Much of the details of the incident, which police say involved Byron Redmond, are unknown. It's unclear why the shooting occurred or whether it was intentional. The Dallas Morning News reports officers who arrived on the scene at 11:39 a.m. saw a large amount of blood and a blood trail in front of an apartment in the 2200 block of the medical district. No one was inside. WFAA reports a second 911 call was placed around the same time. Police tweeted a call came in at a nearby hospital of a male and a female found outside in a vehicle with gunshot wounds. Police say they found Redmond and the woman inside. Redmond died at the hospital. The woman was treated and released. How's that?
Basically, he shot her, which hit him, and then they got into a car because they knew they both were shot, drove to the hospital.
Yep.
He died, she lived.
Yep.
Bravo, sir.
Yep, you did what? Yeah. This next one is a whoops story. A woman seeking revenge on her ex-boyfriend set fire to the wrong home.
Oops, that happens.
Well, not too often. Believe it or not, this happened in North Carolina. A woman allegedly seeking revenge on her ex-boyfriend set fire to the wrong home. According to reports, the Rowan County Sheriff's Office is investigating after 49-year-old Christy Louise Jones put bundles of wood on the porch of a home and then tried to light the house on fire.
She just forgot to check the address. Or he wasn't he was smart not taking her back to his place.
Well, there you go, yeah. A neighbor spotted the woman trying to start a fire at 7 a.m. last Friday and alerted the homeowner to her activities. The homeowner tried to put the fire out with a garden hose, but Jones used Flex Seal to block the flow of water. That Flex Seal works, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It really does.
Genius. If you're going to torch something and you put Flex Seal so they can't get the water to put it out, that's insane, but like geniusly insane.
I use Flex Seal. Now, okay, so my foot has been in a cast for a while, or had been in a cast for a while, okay?
Right.
And what happens is with a double contact cast for a foot wound, for a diabetic foot wound, they put a soft cast on you, and then they put a hard cast over it, okay? And it's nice and fluffy on the inside so that you can step on that cast, or you can step down and walk in the cast, and then they put like a little rocker bottom on the bottom so you can walk around on it.
Okay.
Only problem is towards the toes, they kind of stretch it out so that you've got plenty of room for your toes, okay?
Okay, so you can still move your toes. Gotcha.
Yes, you can still move your toes. The only issue with that is when they go to wrap it with the wrap that they use, the fiberglass wrap, area near the toes is weaker than the rest of the area that they wrap, because you can't wrap that area too much, or it will harden that area and the cast won't constrict very well.
Right.
Constrict and expand when you go to walk. I'm
assuming it frays then, right?
Well, it splits. Okay, so it splits horizontally. Okay, so it actually, there's a top half of the cast and the bottom half of the cast. Only days after they do this. Okay,
right.
So it's kind of flimsy that way. But in order to keep the cast together, you remember did you ever play boot hockey out in the circle when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so there was only one way, and you know how your hockey stick is made of wood, and then it has a fiberglass outside?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
and
when you tape it too.
Yes, you tape it with what? With athletic tape, right?
Oh, yeah, hockey tape, yeah, which is a little bit thicker than athletic tape. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So a thick cloth tape. The only problem with that is that a thick cloth tape won't hold if you're on it all the time, right? But you know what does hold that, Bruiser?
Flex Seal.
Flex Seal. It is amazing. Not only does it patch up your gutters, but it also patches up your fiberglass casts.
And your neighbor's hose if you want to burn down their house.
And yes, and coming full circle after all that explanation, your garden hose, when you're trying to put out a fire that you've just built on what you think is your boyfriend's house, which it turns out it isn't. The homeowner then grabbed his rifle and confronted Jones as she stood on the sidewalk mumbling. Probably not.
She was probably going, "Who are you? Why are you in my boyfriend's house? Like, what are you doing here?"
And he's like, "Who are you? I've got a shotgun. I am going to blow your ass away if you don't put this fire out." A witness who recognized Jones told police that the woman's ex-boyfriend owned a home in the area and believes she may have accidentally targeted the wrong house. Deputies went to the house where Jones lived and talked with her. They charged her with felony first-degree arson, assault with a deadly weapon, and larceny of an animal. The bond was set at $101,500.
Okay.
That's an expensive fire.
I just picture her standing on the street watching the house start to burn and the ex-boyfriend come up next to her and go, "Oh, that's a nice fire. Whose house is that?"
Now that's a fire. More charges are possible in this case, according to WBTV. They also reported that a woman who may have been trying to send a message to an ex-boyfriend apparently targeted the wrong house. Oh, this is the actual story. According to the report, a homeowner in Gold Hill was awakened at approximately 7 a.m. How would you like to be awakened at 7 a.m. on a Friday by a neighbor saying your house is on fire, by the way? There were bundles of wood and a fire on the porch, and deputies later located a jug of bar and chain oil that they say was used to light and spread the fire. So there was an accelerant on top of it. It wasn't just gas.
Right. She went bar and chain. Oh, she went oil, which burns longer than gas.
And smells horrible.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
The homeowner came outside, tried to get water on the fire. When he came out, he noticed a woman standing near a blue car that was blocking the driveway. The woman later identified by deputies as Christy Louise Jones, 49, of Richfield in Stanley County. Deputies say the homeowner went to get the garden hose and then noticed that pieces of wood placed around a propane tank were on fire. Around a propane tank.
You said Stanley County. That's out by me. Yeah. I might have to go check this out.
Well, if you ever need a fire built, you know who to call.
Well, not around my propane, please.
The homeowner's garden hose didn't work because Jones allegedly used Flex Seal to try and seal off the water. Boy, she must have excelled at Girl Scouts.
What did this guy do to her? The ex-boyfriend, not the homeowner.
I have no idea. The homeowner then grabbed a rifle, confronted the woman. According to the report, Jones did not have much to say and just mumbled. Jones also reportedly was holding one of the homeowner's dogs on a leash. Boy, she does not play, does she?
No, hey, at least she was protecting the dog. Like, she didn't want the dog to get hurt.
I don't think that's why she was holding the dog on a leash.
No, you think she was going to steal it, or you think what?
I think it was a threat.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Deputies say a cut was discovered on the homeowner's above-ground pool. So on top of that, she went after the pool.
There was going to be no water near that fire. She was making sure of it.
Yep. Another one score this one under oops.
Oops.
If you're going to burgle a house, Bruiser, don't leave anything behind.
Oh, no, never.
And if you're going to leave something behind, make sure it isn't your keys. Please don't leave your keys at the scene of the crime if you can.
Jimmy, quick, get the getaway car. Okay, toss me the keys. You have the keys. No, I gave them to you.
Authorities in California are trying to identify and locate a burglary suspect who broke into the office of a donut business in the San Francisco Bay Area. Good target. We're off to a good start. The San Rafael office said the suspect stole several items, including a bank bag containing petty cash from Johnny Donuts' office. He sounds like a really bad mafia name.
Yeah, he does. It sounds like he's a hitman.
Johnny Donuts. The thief also took the keys to one of the company's delivery vehicles, but did not steal the truck. Police said that the suspect returned to the crime scene later after he realized he'd left his keys behind.
See, I think he grabbed the truck keys thinking they were his keys, got in his car, put the keys in the ignition, and went, what the hell? What the hell's my car not start?
Oh, come on.
He went back and asked for his key. Like, hey, I was just robbing your place. I left some keys behind.
Yeah, if you don't mind, could we just do a quick little switch here?
Switch.
Lieutenant Dan Fink said that investigators are trying to determine why the business was targeted and would not say if they believe the suspect is an employee of Johnny Donuts. My guess is yes.
Yeah, I'm going with that.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate incident, but we're glad no donuts or team members were harmed, Craig Blum, founder of Johnny Donuts, went on to say. Well, we're glad.
Way to promote your business, buddy. We're glad no people or donuts, which you can get here at Johnny Donuts, didn't get hurt.
But guess what? If the donuts were marked up, they're marked down. Sometimes even the thought of a donut makes you do crazy things, Blum went on to say. Blum also said that his company would send a few dozen donuts to the police officers who came to our aid to ensure that we can continue serving our community handcrafted donuts without interruption.
God. Oh, he just grabbed the wrong keys, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
That's why you put your keys in your pocket. Like, I'm not a professional thief or anything. But
no.
If I was going to rob a donut shop,
Yep.
I'd either leave the keys in the car or I'd put them in my pocket.
Well, now you leave them in the car, you accidentally lock the door, then you're calling a locksmith to get in.
So then I'd either put them in my pocket or I get those, what are they, carabiners, and I lock it on like I'm a janitor.
Yeah.
So they're all the time.
Yeah. Good ideas. See,
I'm already helping people.
See, you're already helping criminals across the U.S.
I am.
Good for you, my friend.
And don't leave your driver's license. How about just not rob? Let's just go with not rob. Don't rob places.
Yeah, just don't rob. This one is filed under oops, and maybe I should have spent more time at the range. Instructor charged with shooting a parked car after a fight accidentally kills a teen.
Ooh.
Yeah. Is
he trying to make an exclamation point at the end of the sentence and try to shoot in the air, but he went sideways?
I think so. Georgia University lecturer charged in a tragic murder of an incoming freshman, a university instructor in Georgia, has been charged with killing an 18-year-old student who was fatally shot while sitting in a car. The Carrollton Police Department said in their news release that 47-year-old Richard Sigmund is charged with murder and aggravated assault in the shooting death of Anna Jones, who was just 18 years old. Police said they believe Jones was killed when Sigmund shot into a parked car following an argument with a man at a pizza restaurant. The shooting happened shortly after midnight on Saturday. Police said a man told security that Sigmund had threatened to shoot him during an argument, and security then asked Sigmund to leave. Investigators believe when Sigmund left, he walked to the parking deck and started shooting into a parked vehicle, hitting Jones. Jeez.
What? control your anger there, man. It's only pepperoni.
That's true. Friends drove Jones to a hospital where she was pronounced dead, according to police. The University of West Georgia told news outlets in a statement that Sigmund's employment has been terminated. A current course catalog listed Sigmund as a lecturer in business administration. The university said Jones had just graduated high school and was an incoming student at the university. On behalf of the university, we wish to convey our deepest condolences to Anna's family and many friends. We know this news is difficult to process and affects many members of our university community. We ask that you keep Anna's friend in your thoughts during this tremendously difficult time, University of West Georgia President Dr. Brendan Kelly said in a statement. When you look at the mugshot for this bozo, you also see that his entire forehead looks like he also has been put up against the grate of the car and shredded like cheese.
Oh.
Yeah, look at that.
That wound looks like a Mikhail Gorbachev birthmark.
It does. I was going to say that too. It looks like Mikhail Gorbachev's birthmark. But yeah, he got...
They roughed him. I wonder how he got that, if it was the police or if it was the pizza people.
I think he might have resisted a little bit of arrest as he was being arrested. I think maybe he thought he didn't do anything wrong and was shown otherwise, I'm sure. Let's go over to Miami Beach, shall we? Where Florida, where again an armed robbery suspect shot a victim over $1.
Oh, come on.
$1. That's right, Ziggy. $1.
Ziggy can't believe it. She's like, $1?
$1.
I'll give that guy $1.
The armed robber allegedly shot the victim, took $1 along with a wallet belonging to the witness, police in Miami Beach, Florida said. Those police are searching for an armed robbery suspect who shot a victim over $1. $1.
We are in a recession, Tim.
Well, now technically, Bruiser, according to the government, we're not in a recession because the job market is still robust.
We're in a recession.
Although
everything's so expensive.
Bullshit is what I call, because it ain't looking too promising. But but we have had 2 months of negative, The robbery occurred in the early morning hours of July 22nd. The victim and a friend were sitting on the steps of their apartment building when the suspect approached and demanded money. He allegedly shot the victim in the upper body. After taking $1 from the victim and the wallet of the witness, the subject ran south along Michigan Court from 8th Street, police went on to say. The victim was taken to a hospital and remains in an induced coma. Over $1. God.
If the guy, she probably told him, hey, no, I don't, all I have is $1. No, you got more than that, then shot her and realized, oh, it's only $1. So grab the wallet of the other person and realize there's nothing in there.
I want people to realize something. You remember the days where they said, see a penny, pick it up all the day, you'll have good luck?
Yes.
In those days to now, the value of a penny is only 1/3 of what it was.
I was going to say, we'd be better off throwing away any penny we see.
So right now, the value of that dollar is actually only 33 cents compared to what it was then. So a penny is only worth a third of what it was then.
Yeah.
So really, $1 is only worth a third of what it was then. When you heard this song, when they first originated the song, see a penny, pick it up, and all the day you'll have good luck. So really, this person got shot over 33 cents.
Yeah, and you can't buy anything with that.
No.
There's nothing. No, you can go. Even dollar stores are barely anything's $1. It's always $1.99 or it's up to $5.
Yeah, you can't get anything for $1 in a dollar store.
What was that, Robic? I'll buy that for $1. We can't do that anymore.
The suspect in this case was described as 25 to 35 years old, between 5'9" and 6 feet in height, has short, curly, bleach blonde hair on top, with a fade style, a goatee, and striped tattoos on the right side of his neck. In other words, he was stuck in 1990.
Yep. Yeah. He probably wearing a shell necklace.
Yep. Puka shells. Yeah.
Yep.
Puka shells. Yep.
Probably wearing Tommy Hilfiger carpenter pants.
Yep.
A cross colors t-shirt.
Yep. He was wearing a long sleeve zippered jacket with red stripes on the seams and black sweatpants. So yeah, he was. You're right, my friend. He was pretty much wearing Tommy Hilfiger, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, $1. There you go. In the I'm a bigger baby than that and I can top it. You ready for this? 30-year-old Brandon Wayne McCrellis of Rome, Georgia, was arrested this past week after reports said he acted in a disorderly manner when his stepfather turned off his internet while playing a video game.
Wait, man. He was probably on a run on COD. He was probably going real good. He was going for a high score, trying to unlock that battle pass, and then Dad clicked it off. I feel for him.
Reports added that the actions resulted in McCrellis to scream that his stepfather was a pussy. Son, you better step up after you scream that.
Yeah, there's always that moment when you want to challenge your father. Every son goes through it.
Oh, yeah. No.
You know what I mean? But never once have I ever called my father a pussy because I know he's not a pussy. I challenged him.
You better get ready to throw hands if you're going to scream it, though.
Yeah, like my son who is serving our country right now is a wonderful man now. But I remember it was about 16 is when he got balls, but he never once called me a pussy. You know, he'd just try a little bit more, and you know, we'd roughhouse and get into a little bit more than that. And normal teenage son, grown father. But I'm gonna have to ask him after. Did you ever think of calling me a pussy? Because I know with my father, never crossed my mind.
No. Well, you know what? My dad and I, we got to the point where, you know, you do the test of strength to see whether you could take the old man or not.
Yep.
I put my old man on my shoulders, did a fireman's carry, and then I spun him. I did the airplane spin.
Okay.
And he's like, put me down, put me down, put me down. And then when I put him down, and this is back when I was in high school, when I could do the 1,000-pound squat, or not squat, the the plates on the on
the leg press,
leg press, exactly. Yep. Not squat, but leg press. So I could do the 1,000-pound leg press, and I had oak trees for legs.
Yeah.
And at that point, he went, "Yeah, okay, we're not going there. You know, I'm good. You know, I don't think that this is the time to try and test you."
My dad's was. Because I grew up in a football family and I played football. So we always had pads at home. And my thing was I wanted to take my girlfriend at the time. I wanted the car to take my girlfriend at the time someplace, and he wouldn't let me. So he made a bet that if I could knock him on his ass while he's holding the football shield, I could have it. And my whole life, never been able to knock him on his ass. I mustered everything up I could, Tim, and I hit him, and he teetered. Teetered. And then he came back, and I said, "Give me another chance." He says, "Son, that's the thing about life. You very rarely get second chances."
Oh, hell no! If you made him teeter, I think that's probably good enough.
I did too, but he taught me a good lesson, And then as I got older, I never really tried to challenge him again, because I almost had him. I mean, I could probably take him now because he's so old and going through all the health problems, but still. So I did the same thing with my son. My son was an amateur wrestler, and I said, "If you can do a double leg takedown and take me down, you can do this."
Yeah.
Still, you have to take me down.
It almost seems unfair, but yet it's funny.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it turns out in this story that McCrellis screamed the old P word to the stepfather. Police went on to say that McCrellis went outside the home and began to flip the breaker box to the home, causing disruption to his grandfather and his mother, who had recently had heart surgery.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? You're going to turn off the internet? Well, I'm going to turn off everyone's life support system.
Right. So it turns out it wasn't the stepdad who was a pussy. It turns out he was.
Yeah. He's going to kill the whole family.
Yeah.
You take away what I love, I'll take away what you love.
Yeah.
Grandpa and Mom.
That's right. The victim reported that McCrellis is, it just says reported that, and then the sentence ends. McCrellis is charged with disorderly conduct in the whole deal. And yeah, they put him in a jail cell to see if he has a prison pussy, I guess is the lesson.
So right now, basically, he's someone's bitch, is what you're saying.
Yes, he's someone's bitch. Exactly.
Yeah, because he can't have internet in prison.
No. So we'll see how well he gets along with others.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see if when they
Call them a pussy, you little bitch.
That's right. So when the guards turn off his internet, we'll see how he reacts at that point. Yeah.
Because those guards, they don't care.
No.
The prisoners don't care.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. Speaking of prisoners who have had enough, we go to, surprise, Florida.
All right, Florida man.
Yep. Where a 23-year-old Florida inmate was bored, so she punched a jail deputy in the face. I don't know.
When you get bored, you just don't randomly punch people.
No. When I'm bored, I'll find something to read, or I'll surf the internet, or I'll check my traps on social media, or maybe I'll watch some TV. I don't know.
Even in jail, you have something to do. You have books in jail. There's people to talk to.
Yeah.
You can write. Color.
The phrase "What are you in for?" I don't know. That generally takes up a few minutes.
Yeah.
Florida inmate charged with punching a corrections officer in the face said that she walloped the female victim because she was bored and had nothing else to do.
I can think of a million things to do. We just listed off 5 different things she could do.
Yeah. Investigators say the deputy was escorting 23-year-old Jasmine Levesque, no relation to Triple H, to a pod inside the Pinellas County Jail when Levesque attacked. The deputy was taken to a walk-in clinic for treatment. After being read her rights, Levesque reportedly stopped to the battery, saying she attacked the deputy because she was bored and had nothing else to do, and was already in a couple of fights earlier in the day. So she was warmed up, Bruiser, and ready to go.
This girl needs a hobby. That's all this is. This girl needs a hobby. Give her a puzzle, please.
I guess. Well, can she unclench her fist to put the puzzle together? That's the question. I mean, she might have permanent arteritis from punching people all day long.
Do you imagine that conversation with her defense attorney, where the defense attorney's like, so what's your defense? Well, I was bored. Yeah, no, we can't.
No, I can't do it.
You can't. Okay, so let's see. You sure you want to go with that? Yeah, no, really, I was bored. Yeah, no.
How about looked at you funny?
Yeah,
we could go with that.
Can we say she called you a name like a pussy or something?
There's a kid in Georgia who's doing time for that.
Yeah. Like, come on now.
Yeah. Levesque was charged with a felony count of battery on a law enforcement officer. Levesque also was jailed earlier in the month for allegedly throwing punches at a municipal bus driver. Oh, it doesn't stop. And getting in a female cop's face and yelling, "I am threatening you right now. Do your effing jobs, you idiot." Wow.
This girl just hates uniforms, I think.
She is hostile. She was charged with assault on a law enforcement officer and assault on a public transit employee. At the time of her July 14th caller, Levesque was free on bond in a felony grand theft case, which remains pending. She's been charged with stealing nearly $2,400 in merchandise from an Ulta beauty store near her residence in Tarpon Springs. Which, by the way, Tarpon Springs is a beautiful suburb there in Tampa. After police found 87 cosmetics items stashed in her purse, that might be 86 more than you want to put in your purse, by the way. She
likes her foundation and her mascara,
I guess. Levesque reportedly copped to the theft, saying that she intended to use the stolen goods to beautify herself. That's in quotes.
Oh. This girl needs a better defense for everything.
She beautify yourself.
Levesque, don't say the first thing that comes to your mind. Think about it.
Yeah. Let's settle things with words, not fists. Words, not fists.
That poor defense attorney.
Yep.
It's the first time a court-appointed defense attorney said, "Nope, not dealing with this."
Yep. Although he better deal with it, otherwise he's going to get one upside the head.
As long as he's not wearing a uniform, I think he'll be okay.
Well, that's true. That is true. I didn't know there was a place called Ball Club, Minnesota. Evidently, that's where we're going next.
Oh, so I want to visit this place.
The one thing we don't do about Ball Club is talk about Ball Club, evidently, but we're about to.
But let me know what's happening up there in the good old Ball Club.
Yeah. A Minnesota woman, I didn't know this either. Evidently, we have a witch problem.
You have a witch problem? Really?
Yeah, in Minnesota. I had no idea. No idea.
In Ball Club, huh?
In Ball Club, Minnesota. Minnesota woman accused of murdering a man and igniting his camper because she was burning a witch. No.
Well, yeah, if you live in Ball Club, you're obviously a witch.
Yeah, well.
If you have balls and you're in the Ball Club, you're a witch.
I thought you were a warlock if you had balls.
Is the Ball Club for life also?
Yes, it is. For life. Yeah. Who's in the Ball Club now? You know, they've changed rosters so often that I can't keep track.
They have.
It's like
I like the shirt, though. It's just a picture of balls on someone's chin.
That's true. It's a very controversial shirt. Yeah.
It is.
But the black and white always sells.
It does. It's number one on Pro Wrestling Tees.
It is. A 42-year-old woman was charged with murder after she allegedly killed a man and set a camper on fire. According to the criminal complaint obtained by WCCO TV on Sunday, July 17th, Crystal Wilson attended I believe this is the Miigwech Manaman Days powwow and used methamphetamine and alcohol. Well, that's always a good mix.
That'll do it.
That's the magic mix.
That's a powwow. If you're that's a powwow.
Yeah, it is.
Get your meth over here, your beer over here, and you're good.
And then pow, wow, I'm seeing witches. She reportedly went to a camper after the powwow to use more drugs with the victim. Never a good idea. Never a good idea. You've already got enough as it is if you got the meth and the alcohol in you.
Yeah, you're up for a few days then.
Yeah. The complaint alleges that Wilson believed the victim was going to attack her with a butcher knife, so she stabbed him numerous times.
Oh.
Owie. Wilson also reportedly punched and kicked the victim. According to WCCO, Wilson told authorities, "I just kept going," and that she, oh my God, then she pissed on him before she went unconscious. This is
Don't you pass out yet. Don't you pass out.
This is one party that went sideways, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm avoiding this powwow.
When good parties go bad.
I used to want to visit Ball Deep, or Ball Club. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Ball Deep.
Ball Club, 44444 life.
We have ball clubs up there by Penis Mountain, so.
Wilson.
Keep it away from Spread Eagle, Wisconsin, all right? Which is a real town, by the way, folks.
Spread Eagle, Wisconsin is
It's a real town.
Well, keep your ball club away from Spread Eagle because evidently they play a little rough around Ball Club.
Yeah, they do a lot of meth, a lot of alcohol, and, after you murder somebody, you piss on them.
I guess. Wilson allegedly woke up and poked the victim's wounds and thought they felt cold. So she lit the camper on fire, thinking she was burning a witch.
Well, because he's cold because he's dead, not because he's a witch.
Yeah.
At least she lit the fire to get rid of him, not to warm him back up.
I agree with Ziggy. Whatever Ziggy was saying in the background there, yeah.
Well, Ziggy's thinking of a different ball club.
I think so. Yeah. We don't lick those balls, buddy.
She doesn't have any. She's a girl.
Well, that's true. On Monday, July 18th, first responders and a Deer River police officer responded to the scene where they saw the camper engulfed in flames. Authorities reportedly found the victim's body lying west of the camper with severe burns on his arms, along with puncture wounds. Upon further search for the area, investigators did not find the butcher knife Wilson described. Authorities did, however, reportedly retrieve a pair of needle-nose pliers. This story gets weirder and weirder as we continue reading.
Did he get out of the camper? They didn't find him in the camper, huh?
I guess not. Wilson allegedly suffered bruising on her body, although she did not know if the injuries were from before or after the accident. On July 20th, Wilson was arrested and booked into Itasca County Jail for second-degree murder. Oh, she did murder the body, yeah. And first-degree arson. Her bail was set at $1 million without conditions and $500,000 with conditions. She got 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Wilson is scheduled to appear in court on August 3rd. And yes, Ball Club will get you 4 life.
So will the meth club, so will the alcohol club, so will the pissing on a dead body club.
Yeah, evidently. So you know how when you go to the store, Bruiser, whether it be you go to Walmart or you go to the grocery store, you know how they lock up the razors?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I always baffled me why.
Well, because they're easy to steal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't see the market in that because I don't think like that. I can afford a razor.
Well, some people can't. I mean, those little refills of those razors, they're like, like 20, 30, $40, especially the Gillettes, the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an 8-pack of Gillettes is like $40.
Just grow a beard. That's what I do.
Some people don't grow good beards.
That's true.
So you gotta,
that is true. I knew a guy that we called Shitty Mustache Guy because he had a horrible mustache.
There you go. See, so Shitty Mustache Guy needs refills.
Yeah, I guess so.
Some people just eat shitty food, and
wait, what?
Some people need to have the shitty food locked up so they can't get to it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you got like a shitty spam eating guy.
Okay.
Do you have one of those friends?
A shitty spam eating guy? No.
No? Well, if
I know Jeff Cobb who eats spam because he's from the islands.
Well, he's going to be disappointed.
They're locking spam up?
Yes, in New York City.
Oh, come on.
They are. Spam is going on lockdown due to inflation in New York City.
Well, is there a high demand for spam in New York City where everyone's stealing it?
People are stealing it, yeah.
Why would you steal spam?
Because it's easy to put it down your pants and walk out the door. That's why.
Okay.
That's not spam in my pants. I'm just happy to see you.
When I first started in the underwater needlepoint, I bought a can of spam my first day of training.
Yep.
And I kept that for years, saying that I will never be so poor that I have to open this can up and eat it. I will make enough money to at least feed myself something. So it was a can of spam and a bag of ramen. And everywhere I moved for 15 years, I had that.
Really?
It was just to motivate me. And I like spam. I think spam's great. But like, you think of, you only eat spam. Yeah.
Yeah.
So spam, I had that for years. And then an ex-girlfriend of mine ate it, and I was mad.
Ew. Yeah. Let me ask you this question real quick. You're in a conundrum here. All you got left in the cupboard is a can of tuna and a can of spam.
I'm eating the can of tuna.
Really? Can of tuna first over the can of spam?
Oh, I love canned tuna.
Okay. Just curious, because some people, that's a conundrum for some people.
So why is that not being locked up? That's smaller cans than the spam.
Because not everybody eats tuna.
And you could like put that in your back pocket. It looks like a pocket. It looks like chew. Or if you put a spam in your pants, it just looks like you have a huge bulge.
That's right.
Well, females don't want a huge bulge down there.
Well, maybe in New York they do.
That's true. New York is weird.
It's the nation's crises in a can. Inflation and crime have gotten so bad in Gotham that even cheap meat like spam has to be locked up. Plus, you can feed a lot of people on a can of spam.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
At Dwayne Reed's store in the Port Authority bus depot, the shelf-stable product, only $3.99 a can, is now being stocked in plastic anti-theft cases.
Really? Like if you go buy a video game, that type of case, huh?
Yep. I've never seen
Great. So now when I go buy my spam, I have to wait an extra 15 minutes while the cashier doesn't know how to use the magnetic lock to open it.
That's right. They have to open up the lock in order to give you your spam. I've never seen that one before, one cashier laughed while using a magnet to remove a can of spam from its cage. The cashier was among the employees, tourists, and store regulars, stunned that the iconic blue and yellow cans are now being kept under lock and key, some even poking fun at the site as a sort of Jeff Koons homage per one viral tweet. 43-year-old Jenny Kenny, who gets the name of the week.
Yes.
Jenny Kenny, who is visiting from Louisville, Kentucky. I said Louisville. It ain't Louisville.
Louisville.
There was no King Louis in France. It was Louis, King Louis.
Louisville.
It's not Louis.
It's Louisville.
It's not Louisville.
I've wrestled there. I've traveled. It's Louisville. You ask anybody that lives there, they'll tell you it's Louisville. You just picture your tongue gets numb halfway through. Louisville.
I am French, and I'll have you know, there was no King Louis. There was never a King Louis.
Louisville?
It was King Louis. King Louis was who the town was named after.
I'm still going to say Louisville.
It's not King Louis. It's King Louis, King Louisville. It's not a Louisville Slugger, it's a Louisville Slugger.
Louisville Slugger.
It's not a Louisville Slugger.
It is. Louisville Slugger.
It's not Louisville Slugger. What, did you have a stroke in the middle of that? It's not a Louisville Slugger.
It's Louisville. It's always been Louisville.
It's a
Louisville.
It's a Louisville Slugger. If you were to raise Joe DiMaggio from the dead, he'd look at you and say it's a Louisville Slugger.
Yeah, but if you ask anybody from Louisville, they'll tell you it's Louisville.
Ask Cornette. Cornette will tell you it's Louisville.
He says Louisville.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he listened to his podcast. He does.
I do listen to his podcast. Occasionally, he'll stop slipping for the marks and he'll say Louisville.
This really bugs you, doesn't it?
It does. It's one of my huge pet peeves.
You are heated right now. I've never seen you get so heated about this.
All the world it's Louisville. It's not Lou. It's not spelled Luhhhh.
Louisville.
It's Louis.
Louisville.
It's King Louis.
Louisville. I drove through Louisville when I moved.
You drove through where?
Louisville.
Did
I love how much this bugs you.
Did somebody hit you? Did somebody hit you with a bat when you drove through and you couldn't say the name of the town?
Yeah. Hit me with a Louisville Slugger.
Yeah, you got hit as you drove by the museum, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because it's King Louis. Louisville.
Louisville.
Ask RJ City. He'll tell you.
I will.
Ask RJ City. He's Canadian.
Is he from Louisville?
He's Canadian. He's French.
Oh, you see, that doesn't work. You got to ask the people from Louisville, Kentucky, how they say it.
You ask someone who has French heritage. They'll tell you how to say the name of the city.
I'm still going with Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. Anyways, Jenny Kenny.
How come it's not Louisville? St. Louis is spelled like Louis, like King Louis.
Because they don't know either.
So why isn't it St. Louis?
It should be St. Louis. But they don't know either.
How come it's not St. Louis?
Yeah, how come it's not St. Louis? I've said that to people from Louisville before, too. How come it's not St. Louis?
Yeah.
Yeah. How come it wasn't Lou and Clark who did the expedition, huh? It's not Lou and Clark.
My pet peeve when it comes to English language is when people put an R in car wash. Let's go get the car washed.
Oh, I thought you meant a car wash. I was like, what part of Boston are you from?
It's Boston or no. Like when they say, let's go wash the car. You go to a car wash?
It's Bruiser, your cousin from Boston. It's like, when did you start drinking Sam Adams?
I know, I don't like Sam Adams.
It's Bruiser, your cousin from Boston. Let's go get the car washed.
So how come that doesn't make you mad, but
I've never said Washington in all my life. Why would I start now? I say Washington, I say Louisville. I say it all correctly.
I'm definitely playing this episode for my wife because she's obsessed with people that say Louisville because she says the same thing you say.
Right, it's Louisville.
So that's why whenever I hear somebody do your argument, I right away just, it's Louisville.
It's not St. Louis. It wasn't Lou and Clark that did the expedition. It shouldn't be Louisville.
I wish the listeners could see your face because every time you see it, your eyes cross and they go up in your head.
Because that's the only way to make the noise. You have to act like all of a sudden you've been hit by a stroke from God. That's the only way to make that noise. It's for you to cross your eyes and have your eyes roll back in your head and go, "Ugh." That's the only way a northerner can make that noise.
I'm a northerner. What are you talking about?
Louisville.
I'm from the same area you are. I'm just a state away. It doesn't change. You still talk like up there, hey.
You're down south now.
Now I am.
They've taken you in as one of them. So it's anyways, where were we in the story?
The spam, the lady from Louisville.
43-year-old Jenny Kenny from Kentucky. We'll agree with that. Was looking for spam because evidently she didn't want to pay $7 for a meal from a hot dog vendor, which, by the way, a hot dog isn't a sandwich.
Okay. Yeah, it is. It's between two. Okay, now I can't get you fired up again. We only have a limited time on this podcast.
All right.
I'm saving that for tomorrow.
All right, fine. It's not a sandwich. They make a special bun for it. It's not a sandwich.
It's a hoagie then.
No, a hoagie's something different.
They're all the same.
No, it's different.
Anyways, back to the spam because you couldn't afford a meal.
So Jenny Kenny from Kentucky was aware of the ongoing crime waves hitting cities like New York and San Francisco, but still couldn't believe the sight of so many things in boxes. Some of these things are pretty ridiculous, she went on to say. Boxes being the crime boxes, so to speak, or the locked boxes. As prices and crime skyrocket, New York City stores have taken to locking up staples like toothpaste and soap to prevent crooks from stealing and then hawking the products on the sidewalk or online marketplaces like Amazon and eBay. Who is buying spam on eBay? Is your life really that desperate that you're buying spam on eBay?
Who's buying soap on eBay?
Not me. I got a little bit gently used soap on eBay. Who's going to buy it? Yet some shoppers were confused why spam, along with $1.89 cans of Star-Kissed tuna, speak of the devil, were enclosed under plastic, while pricier foodstuffs like $5.49 cans of Amy's soup, which sat unencumbered. So you can get $5.49 cans of Amy's soup, but it's not in it.
Soup's not like spam, though.
No, it's not. It's actually healthy for you. To put spam in a cage is stupid and kind of insulting to the customers that would buy it, said shopper 46-year-old Dennis Snow. Snow said he didn't think that spam is being stolen to sell it for crack. Who sells spam for crack?
Tim, I just looked up spam on eBay.
Yeah.
And you can get an 8-pack right now for $20.88.
Get the fuck out of here, really?
You can get, and that's the classic. 12-ounce 8-pack. The 12-ounce cans, 8-pack for $20.88. You can get the 25% less sodium 12-ounce 8-pack for $19.50.
See, everybody wants the sodium in their spam.
Well, that's what makes spam,
I guess. Snow says he doesn't think spam is being stolen to sell it for crack, but rather because the homeless in the area are looking for a quick and easy meal. That's why someone is stealing this because they need it, agreed 28. I
think it's better that they're trading their spam for crack.
I think so, too. I'd rather see them trading it for meth. Because
drug dealers got to eat, too.
The people with no teeth are gnawing on that spam like there's no tomorrow. Nothing's getting done.
I feel attacked.
No. I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about the people with no teeth because of meth are gnawing on that log of spam and nothing's happening. And I'm just saying.
It's like a teething baby.
Yeah, exactly. Not a big salt block of ham. Delia Kemp went on to say someone's stealing it because they need it. Employees at the store said thefts have been surging over the past 2+ years, with one estimating a minimum of 4 shoplifters every evening shift. I don't think they stop anything, Iggy said. Iggy is 21 and a store clerk, by the way, of the anti-theft cases. It's security theater. If you really needed it, you would stomp on it.
That's true. It's not like they're bulletproof plastic. There's plastic.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
They're just larger and more. You can't hide them as inconspicuously.
Iggy just gave up the secret.
Yeah. Yeah, Iggy's throwing it out there. Like, hey, here's how you steal these.
Jeez.
And you won't hurt the spam at all because it's a tin can.
True.
You might dent it.
Well, screw it, I guess. The employees' complaints were prescient. At around 7 p.m. on Thursday, a man in a black tank top and gray sweatpants had an employee unlock the glass case for a $38 electric razor and then bolted with the appliance past a yellow-shirted security guard and out the door.
Oh, okay.
See what I mean? With inflation still out of control, the consumer price index spiked 9.1% in June compared to a year ago. So that's why people are stealing Spam and razors. So, deal with it. Let's move on, shall we? We only have a couple more stories here left. Actually, we have a few stories left here, but we'll move through them quickly. We go to Florida. A Florida man allegedly admitted to killing his father and said he had been held hostage for far too long.
Oh, yeah,
You know how old this guy
father. Is? I'm going to say 15.
21. Why didn't he just take his can of Spam and move on?
They let the kid know at 18 you can move out legally?
Yeah, you can move out at 18. 21-year-old man was arrested after allegedly fatally shooting his father because of the money. It doesn't sound like a good excuse.
No.
According to a news release from the Polk County Sheriff's Office on Sunday, July 31st, shortly after 10 a.m., deputies responded to a report of a suspected shooting in a garage. 21-year-old Kyle Ramish of Winter Haven reportedly called 911, said he shot his father dead. Deputies also received a call from a neighbor who allegedly saw the victim deceased in the garage. During the 911 call, Ramish reportedly told the 911 dispatcher he shot his father in the head. When asked about his motive, Ramish said, because of the money. Okay.
Oh, okay, thanks for being serious.
Yeah. The suspect also reportedly said he had been held hostage for far too long. Drama much? According to the sheriff's office, the suspect said he shot his father too many times. What?
He shot him. What?
He shot him too many times.
Oops. You meant to shoot him just once?
Is there an acceptable amount of times to be shot?
I guess so.
At the scene, deputies reportedly searched the home through the open garage door and found the deceased victim on the garage floor suffering from gunshot wounds throughout his body. According to the sheriff's office, a Sig Sauer 9mm semi-automatic handgun was recovered from the garage. Authorities also reportedly found 14 spent shell casings on the garage floor. He wasn't lying. He'd shot him too much.
Yeah. Was he trying to torture him and shot you in the knee? Like in the Punisher thing, he shoots him and oh my God, you shot me in the knee. Yeah, tell me what you got, because you got another knee and you got 2 elbows, 2 shoulders, 2 ankles.
I guess. Along with a spent shell casing in the foyer. So evidently there were 14 in the garage floor, 1 in the foyer. That's 15 total. I passed math in school. Ramish was arrested and booked into Polk County Jail for first-degree murder. He remains held without bond.
Good. Stay there. He doesn't have the money anyways to bond himself out.
No.
His dad had all the money.
That's right. He should have got the money first, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting the money first, Miami man pleads guilty to mailing $10,000 to have his ex-girlfriend's new lover killed. You generally want to do these transactions in person.
Yeah. You want to sit in the car and discuss it in a parking lot.
Yeah.
You don't go to Craigslist to find an assassin.
No. And you definitely don't want to get a money order. That's the last thing you want to do.
Wait, you don't want to send that Western Union?
No. You don't want to. You don't want to wire. You don't want to mail a money order. A 43-year-old man is pleading guilty to sending $10,000 via the United States Postal Service to have his ex-girlfriend's new lover killed.
Did the memo on the check say hitman?
Yes. And it wasn't talking about Bret Hart.
Nope.
No. According to a news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida on Wednesday, July 27th, Ryan Hadid entered a guilty plea. It might have been a play. In September of 2021, he reportedly mailed a letter to a hitman saying, this is the letter, "I need someone eliminated. I've been told you can arrange that. $10,000 all in cash and upfront. Person located in Tampa."
So there's no other information. It's just person in Tampa.
Yeah.
So this guy could have gone to Tampa.
Yep.
Murdered anybody.
Yep.
Sent it back, said deal's done.
Yep. Give me the money. Evidence was uncovered.
We are giving a little bit of credit when we thought this guy thought it through when he's mailing $10,000 to a hitman.
I'd have just took the money and said, "Job's done. Goodbye."
Yeah.
Evidence was uncovered during a secondary customs inspection of Hadid when he came back to the United States from an international trip, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. He was reportedly arrested and a case was filed against him in December of 2021. Hadid's former girlfriend's lover and intended victim is still alive.
Oh, yeah, of course, because we don't know who he is.
Well, he had a big place to hide, Tampa.
So if he would have gone to, I don't know, Orlando, he would have been safe no matter what.
I think he had an amusement park to hide in, maybe one or two. Hadid is scheduled to be sentenced on October 26th and is facing up to 10 years in federal prison and a $250,000 fine. He can try this all again when it's all over, being that he narrows down the scope of where he's actually trying to find the guy.
And he's got $10,000 to pay, part of that $250,000 fine. So
yeah, so there you go. Tulsa man allegedly is trying to rob a convenience store, and at the time he pays for his cigars and then flees on a bus.
Oh.
It was the botched robbery of the week. But it's easy to see that you could, Bruiser, I'm going to show you a picture here. You could probably find him.
Oh my gosh. He has, that's not face paint. That's a tattoo.
Yeah, those are tattoos all over his face.
Yeah.
He looks like a member of one of the Slee Stacks of the Land of the Lost.
If you watch the first Suicide Squad movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Diablo, his face paint or face tattoo is what that looks like.
He does look like Diablo. A man was taken into custody last week after he allegedly tried to rob a convenience store and then tried to flee from police on a bus. Probably not the best getaway vehicle.
Did he walk up, hand the bus pass, and go, 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 go?
Take my transfer, take my transfer. According to the Tulsa Police Department, on July 21st at 3:48 p.m., officers received a call about a robbery by force or fear at the Quick Trip on East Admiral Place. Security officials at the Quick Trip reportedly told police that a masked man attempted to rob the store, but then became frustrated that the clerk misunderstood his demands and grabbed merchandise.
I'm sorry, what? What?
The suspect, who police identified as Oscar Aleo Garcia, allegedly ran and got on a southbound bus. Tulsa police said Garcia went into the store wearing a jacket and hat and covered his face in a bandana. Bad move.
Yep. That's old school.
Yeah,
he's old school.
It's always going to distort your voice. He allegedly put a bag on the counter and demanded small bills.
What?
Yeah, go Buffalo Bills. I agree.
Yes.
Right.
You're part of the Bills Mafia, huh? Josh Allen, woo!
Yeah, woo, Josh Allen. Although he got in a fight in practice this past week.
Did he?
Yeah, did you see that?
No.
Oh, go to BR
I've been
Report.
following the Debo Samuel stuff. I haven't watched any of that.
Yeah, he got into it with a defensive lineman.
Ooh.
Yeah, Josh has
He's
got
badass, man. He's a good quarterback.
Josh is part of ball club, evidently. He went at it with a defensive lineman.
Get him a shirt.
His own defensive lineman.
We got to get him a shirt.
Yep. Josh Allen is ball club. 44444 life. He allegedly put a bag on the counter and demanded small bills from the cashier, which sounded like Buffalo Bills. The clerk reportedly asked Garcia to repeat what he said, and Garcia allegedly repeatedly repeated. The clerk reportedly thought Garcia said something about cigarettes. So he asked if Garcia wanted Marlboro Reds. Garcia then said he'd take Marlboro 100s.
Marlboro 100s. The Marlboro bills. Marlboro Reds.
Police said Garcia became frustrated in his inability to pull off the robbery and aborted the attempt.
Smart decision.
Yeah. Before he left, he reportedly filled the bag with energy pills from the area around the cash register because you never know when you're going to need extra energy to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
He then allegedly paid for Black and Mild cigars and ran. So wait, he stole the energy pills, but he's like,
wait a second, hold on, Black and Milds, hold on, I got my waters somewhere, I'll pay for those.
These here, they're coming with me on the house. Those there, I'm paying for those.
Yeah. Police reportedly followed the bus he got on. Then he surrendered to officers at a bus stop. Well, that's nice. He waited for the bus to stop to surrender.
Good.
Garcia reportedly visited the Quick Trip earlier that day, too, but he was recognized because of his distinct appearance, which was tattoos all over his head and face.
Yeah, if you're tatted head to toe, do not get into a life of crime.
No. Garcia was booked on charges of strong arm robbery, which I thought was only a rap term, wearing a mask in commission of a felony, and a gang-related offense. His bond, by the way, $25,000.
Well, the defense attorneys go, well, he paid for the Black and Milds.
Yep. By the way, I didn't know this was a crime. I do this on the weekends sometimes.
You rob convenience stores?
No. This next story.
Okay.
We go to Florida, where a 39-year-old man is facing a DUI count after he was driving around Walmart on a scooter while drunk.
Yes, no, I did know that. If it's motorized, you can't drive it drunk. You cannot ride a bicycle while it's drunk, and you cannot ride a horse while you're drunk.
Why? The horse has a mind of his own.
No idea, but it's a law. Look it up.
Huh. All right. Florida man is behind bars on DUI charges for allegedly drunk driving a motorized scooter inside a Walmart where he nearly struck shoppers and crashed into shelves and merchandise.
I gotta pick up some coffee. Excuse me. Where's your beer? Where's beer? Okay. Excuse me.
He crashed into shelves and merchandise displays. You know, they do have those newer, some of the Walmarts have the newer buggies now. I call them buggies. It's the Amish in me. The newer scooters. They have the new 4-wheel scooters.
Okay.
But they have terrible batteries in them.
Oh, of course.
So you can barely take them around for like 45 minutes before they run out of juice.
Yeah.
But you can hit a few kids while you're in there. So, I mean...
blood streaks behind you.
Well, what you do is you run up on their heels.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
my father-in-law used to do that.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good stuff. It makes
then we tried to light his tires on fire, and so he could drive and make like streaks like Back to the Future. Doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all. 39-year-old Aaron Gregory was busted around 10 a.m. on Sunday inside a Walmart in Melbourne, Florida, a city about 65 miles south of Orlando.
Good for him for being drunk at 10 a.m.
Right? And on a Sunday, the Lord's Day, right?
Yeah.
He was like,
he went into that communion wine a little too hard.
He just said, hey, you know what? This is Jesus' blood. Yeah. I'm just totally bloodfesting here, man.
Praise Jesus. Yeah. Praise him. Praise him.
He went to early mass, I'm guessing. Probably went 8:30.
Yeah,
probably did that. Officers were summoned to the store reference to an intoxicated male on a motorized scooter, according to an arrest affidavit. A Walmart security official told cops that Gregory was haphazardly driving a Walmart scooter down the aisles, running into shelves and displays, and creating a danger for other patrons by almost striking them with the scooter. Gregory reportedly was so intoxicated that he was barely able to stand on his own and had to be transported from the store on a stretcher. Oh. Now that's hardcore right there.
That's going real hard.
Yeah. Gregory's backpack, which was in the scooter's basket, contained an open bottle of Smirnoff vodka. Oh, so he was drinking and driving.
Yeah, he was taking some pulls in between aisles.
Yeah. Store security cameras recorded Gregory swerving, running into items, and nodding off while driving the motorized scooter. You had it the first time there, Bruiser.
Yeah, see?
I think you've seen this done once or twice. Gregory was charged with 4 misdemeanors, including driving under the influence, disorderly intoxication, and possession of an open container of alcohol. He's being held in the Brevard County Jail in lieu of $3,000 bond. The Walmart scooter, by the way, which tops out at 10 miles an hour. That sucker can move.
That means they're going to suspend his Walmart scooter license.
That's right. Is considered a motor vehicle according to Florida criminal statutes. This guy looks like this guy looks like Kenny Rogers and Ryan Reynolds got together and had a baby. He does.
He does.
It's kind of funny.
He's got the salt and pepper hair and then like a real black goatee, but his sideburn. It looks like he just dyed his sideburns to match his hair.
But he's got the Ryan Reynolds eyes.
He does.
The sad Canadian Ryan Reynolds eyes.
And then he's got the Kenny Rogers look.
He does. Last 2 stories we have here are the kind of, first of all, put the kids to bed right now. If you're listening at night, if you're listening in the middle of the afternoon, put them down for a nap. These are the stories that will not only give the kids nightmares, but they're also the stories that you want to put earmuffs on the children. These are the stories, by the way, that will not only entice and titillate you, but they are the stories that are absolute nightmare fuel.
Okay. All right.
One is funny. We'll save it for the end. The other one is one that makes you never want to buy a teddy bear again. We're going to start with that one.
All right. Is it like Paddington Bear playing Metallica or something?
No, it's worse than that. We stay in Florida, where a Florida woman armed with a pitchfork and a whip is accused of trying to sell teddy bears behind Publix.
Oh, wait. You gotta read. It's a hard market to break into, Tim. The teddy bear market is hard, and it's a battle out there. Like these vendors just go at it. So I understand the pitchfork and the whip. You know, you gotta keep those other teddy bear vendors away from you. I don't know whether to stay hard during this story here
or to run in fear. A 56-year-old woman who has an interesting psychological profile was arrested after allegedly waving a pitchfork and black whip behind a grocery store. You know, some guys pay extra for that, Bruiser.
They do.
I'm just saying. According to an arrest affidavit obtained by WKMG-TV, Lisa Stone was attempting to sell teddy bears behind a Publix store. The store manager reportedly told Florida Highway Patrol troopers that Stone used a pitchfork to stab a minivan. Oh, God, love her.
Told you, this teddy bear market is hard, man.
She's the kind of crazy you want to bring home to mama.
Somebody better marry that woman.
Yeah.
Marry that girl.
Marry that girl right there. According to the arrest affidavit obtained by WKMG-TV, Lisa Stone was attempting to sell teddy bears behind a Publix store. You may ask why the pitchfork and the black whip. The store manager reportedly told Florida Highway Patrol troopers that Stone used a pitchfork to stab the minivan. Okay. At some point, WOFL-TV alleges that Stone began yelling and running around with a pitchfork and a whip. My God. Sloan.
Teddy bears here, teddy bears. Whoosh, teddy bears here. Whoosh.
Maybe she was just trying to see if they were still alive.
Yeah.
Sloan was reportedly told to stop by troopers, but she refused the orders. A trooper told Wolfel, or WOFL, that Sloan appeared to be highly intoxicated on some sort of stimulant drug. Aha!
No, come on. In Florida on meth and alcohol? No.
These bears talk to me, man. Sloan reportedly told authorities she felt no pain anymore and that God was in control. I want to party with this chick.
Jesus took the wheel.
Sloan was eventually taken into custody, and while in the patrol car, she allegedly unbuckled her seatbelt and started kicking toward the window.
Oh, of course.
That's my girl.
God doesn't want her in the back of that police car.
No, he wants her out there with the pitchfork and the whip selling them teddy bears. God has a quota. God damn it. God has a quota. Sloan was arrested and booked into the Lake County Jail on $2,000 bond for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And by deadly weapon, we mean teddy bear. And finally, Bruiser, we go to your neck of the woods. It's just being reported by somebody in your neck of the woods. We go to Tennessee.
Okay, it's still Bobby.
A bomb, in quotes, thrown by a man's ex-wife was actually just a sex toy. This according to Tennessee cops.
What kind of sex toys are they making nowadays that look like bombs?
Always check your bombs before you throw them out the window.
Hopefully she got caught before she went home and wanted to use a sex toy.
I guess.
Because if she threw the sex toy, she's probably trying to please herself with a pipe bomb.
Oh, good Lord. That's an explosive ending, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. A woman accused of threatening to blow up her ex-husband and his new fiance threw a package out her car window, prompting a bomb squad to investigate and discover a surprising object. Maybe it was a courting gift. According to Tennessee court documents, officers responded to a towing business in Nashville at around 7:20 p.m. on July 25th, according to an affidavit filed with a court in Davidson County. A man told police that his ex-wife had been harassing and stalking him and his new fiance. He said she came to the tow yard in the morning to confront the couple and told them she'd put them in jail. The affidavit says the man told the police that his ex-wife called the business later that afternoon, yelled, threatened him, and said, "I'm going to blow y'all up," before hanging up. At around 6:30 p.m. that day, surveillance video captured the woman driving in front of the tow yard and throwing a bag out the driver's side window. This is where it gets interesting.
Did she yell, "He's my ex-husband. I know how he is in bed. You'll need this"?
That probably would have helped. You want explosive? Here's explosive. The man and his fiance feared for their safety and called police, according to the affidavit. Why wouldn't you just go out there and poke it with a stick? See if it hummed or whirred or...
I don't want to blow up.
Yeah, well, that's true. Police officer and hazardous device units shut down the block. Oh, this is good.
Oh, wow.
Where the towing business is located to investigate the package. Get it? Package.
Sir, we have a low humming sound coming from the package. What do I do? Approach with caution. It's a slow vibrating humming sound.
It's not ticking, sir. That's okay.
Humming.
This could be dangerous. They found the package contained a sex toy, not an explosive, according to the affidavit.
Well, not according to the sex toy company.
They said, "Have you tried it yet? This thing is explosive." Officers arrested the woman and charged her with 2 counts of false reporting. Yeah.
Wait, nothing about threatening? Just the two counts, huh?
Yep, just 2 counts of false reporting. So that's it. We ended today with a bang.
Well, with a sex toy bang.
Yeah, that's it. That'll do it for Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals.
Oh, this woke me up. I needed this.
There you go. A little shot in the arm for you, Bruiser.
Yeah. Can't wait to visit Louisville again sometime.
Louisville. And a hot dog's not a sandwich. From Boston. So that'll do it for today's show. Tomorrow's show is Supernatural News. We want you to join us yet again tomorrow. We've got plenty of interesting stories for you, plenty of strange supernatural, and a little sparkle and shine of the funny thrown in there as well. That'll do it for today. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you for joining us on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Join us again tomorrow for the best in supernatural and paranormal podcasting, Darkness Radio.